We got a huge show, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the biggest weeks in golf. We are live at tpc-sawgrass, right in front of this 2 bazillion square foot clubhouse, which is absolutely beautiful. We're just behind the 18th green, and we have an excellent show. We're in person, which everybody always loves. We got Beef, Trent, Frankie, myself. We have Gary-Woodland and Adam-Hadwin on this show, and it's all brought to you by the incredible folks at Chevrolet. What an American company. Chevrolet, together let's drive. And do yourself a favor, head over to chevy.com/equinoxev. Check it all out. It's nice to be here, gentlemen.
Fantastic to be in Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra.
Yep.
We love this place. This golf course obviously always delivers, and just being here just feels huge. It's the players, the fifth major, whatever you want to call it. There's just juice here. There really is.
Big
Trent
juice.
is about to embark on one of the greatest events that he'll ever play in, is playing in front of thousands and thousands of people at TPC Sawgrass. He's about to go play in the Creator Classic, which is a very, very cool opportunity. So yeah, vibes are high right now. Balls have yet to be struck.
And we are going to plug in a little bit pretty quickly in the show of like our knee-jerk reaction to how Trent did, since everyone will know. But a lot of the show, when we get into it with Woodland and Hadwin and the whole deal, they're prepping Trent a little bit. So there's a lot going on in the show.
Yeah, there's a ton going on. I am excited. I'm also a little nervous. Riggs and I talked about it on the last show after we talked about the qualifier. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting day here at TPC Sawgrass. But I mean, we're out here Wednesday when we're recording, and this place has got a real buzz to it. You can already feel it. So this is really one of the great tournaments of the year.
Also a lot of buzz around Chevy. So just a reminder, chevy.com/equinoxev, that 17.7-inch diagonal touchscreen display. It's the best in class. It's awesome. It's roomy. These things look great. You can check out product info, lease offers, amazing deals. Chevy.com/equinoxev, Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Trent Daddy's playing tomorrow.
I got to play the back nine
Let's
tomorrow.
go. All right.
Gotta play the back nine tomorrow.
Any tips for him on the
Creator
back
Classic.
nine?
Yeah, you got any tips for me going down the stretch there?
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice. I love this week. You know, we've been hyping up for a couple weeks now, getting very excited. The weather is phenomenal. It's crisp in the morning, it's crisp in the evening, and it's like 75 during the day. This grass is, unimaginably green. The course is each hole is so distinct in how it looks, in how it plays. We get into that with a couple of the guys, obviously with Woodland and with Hadwin, but it's just such a good week. And, I do think I've been convinced too, like we talk about it, should it be a fifth major, should it not? It's almost just perfect as is. Me and Trent kind of talked about that last show. Is like, you won 2 majors and a Players Championship. Incredible.
Well, like I said, it's proof that not everything that has to matter has to be a major.
Right.
Like if you build a tournament in the right way, it can just be a really, really cool and prestigious tournament.
Which is good for golf.
It's really good.
It doesn't have to be like major or bust.
Is this your first time here, Beef?
First time here, and this is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the 51st playing of the Players.
Yep.
And it seems like, you put one of these on your resume, a couple wins in there, you're a Hall of Famer.
Right. We were saying if Kevin Kisner had won that one in 2015,
he had
won that, then every time we talk about Kevin Kisner, it's in a different way. If, we talk about him, you see all the TGL stuff, whatever. He's a hell of a player and has been in the past.
Yeah, he sucks now.
Compared
to what he was.
But I'm saying you would, but at the end of that,
Kids would agree with that.
But at the end of that, you would have to say, but he did win the Players.
Yep.
Because it's that important of a tournament.
Absolutely, 100%. It's like winning your conference championship for basketball or something like that. You may not do really well in the actual tournament, but hey, we were conference champions. We won that championship. It goes a long way. 100%.
Totally agree.
So we got some news we got to talk to. And again, we get into a lot of player stuff with the actual players. We don't have to do too much of it on our own. But Tiger Woods,
something happened?
We're all hyped up and whatnot. There's babies crying over there. But Tiger Woods with just a crushing announcement on Tuesday of the Players. Kind of a wild day with Jay doing the state of the Mr. Monahan, the Commissioner Monahan, which we got to get into with him too. But he does a State of the Union, a lot of momentum, PGA Tour, Sawgrass, hype, and then just sort of a deflating little news bomb there from Tiger. Ruptured his Achilles tendon, had minimally invasive surgery. From what I'm hearing, that's like at least 6 to 9 months on the recovery time. He's going to be 50 years old at the end of this year. So just not a lot of positives to take away from that.
I said on these very airwaves that I thought he was going to play in the Players. And boy, was I wrong.
I think we all did. That's obviously, I think he did too.
Yeah,
I was prepping for it.
Yeah, and
that's a positive we could take away. He was ramping up, I believe he said.
He did
ramping
say that.
up for the Players. Listen, Aaron Rodgers ruptured his Achilles and he came back. He was ready to come back within a couple of months, and that was like to play football. So I feel like with Tiger Woods's access to medicine and rehabilitation, I don't think that this is something that's going to set him back too much. Obviously, this year is probably out the window, but listen, it's another step back for a guy that just wants to keep moving forward. Somehow, some way, he wants to keep plugging along, no matter how much it seems like he can't do it anymore. He's going to keep going. So, sucks. Definitely sucks. We were ready to see him here, and he's not here, and he's not going to be here for a while. And he'll be back, though.
He is a guy and is the guy where his legacy is set pretty much, you know?
Yeah.
Not much else you can accomplish. I mean, obviously some back-end stuff where, you know, he gets to a certain age and certain amount of injuries where you're like, wow, I can't believe he did that. I think 2019 Masters certainly fell into that category.
Yep.
Anything he would win from now on certainly would fit into that category. But it's like, yeah, I mean, he's really just doing it.
How's it going?
For the love of the game, and he loves competing.
Nice to see ya.
Like, there's no other reason he would be out there. He doesn't need the money. He's got every trophy in his trophy case. He just likes to compete. And as long as he still has that drive and wants to do it, what's stopping him from doing it other than, I'm going to use that word again, a myriad of injuries?
Can he tarnish his legacy by
Nice word.
playing bad golf?
I don't think so.
At this
If he
point.
just keeps, if he misses the cut at the Masters and starts ruining all of his records, and
I don't know how you
think
can
so.
ruin him.
The thing is, too, I think he'll never get lower than he was when he was blading chips across the green at the Phoenix Open in like 2016 or
That
whatever
was
that
really
was.
bad, yeah.
And then he came back from that. Remember, he took time off, came back, showed up at the Masters, and just chipped with headphones in for like an hour to showcase that he could chip, and then won the Masters in 2019. So I don't know how you can really. I don't know that he could tarnish himself at this point. I think the best thing that ever happened to people like us hoping Tiger still has drive is Phil Mickelson winning that PGA. So Phil has won a major more recently than Tiger.
Yeah.
I honestly think, as weird as it sounds, that drives him more than anything, maybe. And then he's like, I will not go out with that man winning a major more recently than I have. So hopefully he's still driven by that. But yeah, at this point, I think we can all agree. I don't know if I've ever said this before. He's probably not going to get to 18 majors. You know, he's at 15. So it's like,
if he wins one, he's gonna win 3.
I like it.
Hey, he just needs one more win and he passes Stampede, right?
yeah.
He needs
Yeah.
one win. And maybe that's the thing that opens him up for another run at a major here or
Let's just
there.
get 4 rounds under our belt.
Yeah, it'd be
4
nice,
rounds
you know.
of golf.
Let's get a healthy body.
He's like 9 months away from being able to walk. And I do think, I'm like, let's get a couple majors under our belt.
Well,
So
he's,
yeah.
he's a super athlete, though.
Bummer,
Just like
man.
Aaron Rodgers.
I
He'll come
think
back.
he's
a
gonna
bummer.
rev up like around December. He'll do the PNC, and then next year it's like he's gonna take a crack at a lot of events. I really do. I think this is gonna be something where it's like works on the upper body. He's gonna be jacked.
It's going to be huge.
I don't think
jacked.
that the ruptured Achilles is as daunting as you think in terms of like the recovery. I think he'll still be able to hit golf balls.
I think the other thing, too, is with the stuff that's all happened this year with his Miller
Alex
passing away,
Olsen.
too, it might just be a good time for like the next 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
Right now, obviously, he has the
Greatest
injury. He has
female
to,
golfer of all time.
he has to be
Yeah,
out
history
there.
right there.
There's Annika.
You just stop to give the nice,
She remembers us, which is out of control.
healthy wave to the boys.
When my
over here.
dad and I went to Pebble Beach and we played the hay in crazy fog, we couldn't even see Pebble Beach from there. She was out there with her husband and son,
She
Will.
just materialized out of the fall.
She was out there with Will, and Will came over and she asked, she goes, "Can I get a photo with you and my son?" I was like, "Yep."
You
Yeah.
sure can.
You sure can.
My dad bladed one off the first tee and it went right by them too.
Amazing.
Legend.
They had
Yeah,
a good
that's-
showing of this year's PNC, too. They had fun. They had a blast out there.
Yeah, they're always great at that thing.
Her son's a
Um,
player.
Yeah.
All right, so golf world. So we're having an interesting week. You know, we're on this creator council now, and we're here at PGA Tour's biggest flagship event, the Global Home, which is their mega HQ that they recently built, which is awesome.
It's a Tony
So,
Stark ass building.
yeah, we were sort of like, we were brought into the castle a little bit, to kind of like the king, like, made us dinner and really got us on
I
their
am the
side.
king of the castle. What is that?
And
So, Borat,
Yeah,
I
Borat.
got a chair.
I am a chair. I am the king of the castle.
You do this, you do this, you do this.
I am the king of the castle. You will never get this.
And it was incredible. We were in a meeting with Commissioner Monahan, was in there with us, with the No Laying Up crew, with Paige Sporanic, with Eric Anders Lang, Roger Steele. There were a bunch of folks in there, and PGA Tour brass. And then after the State of the Union, Jay Monahan rolled in, sat in for the meeting for, I would say, almost an hour.
Yeah.
And
all right.
he was taking the feedback. He
Pretty
was
stunning.
giving feedback and reacting. It was stunning, and it was honestly very cool, I thought.
Yeah, their biggest week of the year. Obviously, this is their Super Bowl, so like the commissioner, with all the things that he has to deal with, just gave a State of the Union address like he was the president, like you said. and we watched him go from our TVs in this little. And you rattled off a lot of names, but there really wasn't that many people in this room. There was less than 20 people in the room.
Yeah.
So we're in there for 2 hours watching the press conference, and then
pretty much rattled off everyone that was in there, so it wasn't that many.
Not that many.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he goes from the TV right into the room that we were in, which is kind of like a bizarre scenario, right? Like we're watching the thing that everyone's watching. There's Johnson-Wagner.
Johnson-Wagner, come on over here real quick.
Look at this guy.
Come on over here real
Just
quick.
for 30 seconds. Give us 30 seconds.
Throw that mic over here, Bushman.
What's up, brother?
Gentlemen,
Come on, stand over here by me so that the cameras see. How are you?
beautiful day in Sawgrass.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Riggs.
You are my favorite on television personality right now.
Thank you.
You know, well, we're just about to kind of
Across the board, no matter what sport, no matter what, you're number one.
We're just about to highlight this meeting that we were in yesterday with the commish and a couple other folks from the tour, and you were brought up as a major highlight in a progress of kind of like mixing relatable content in the world of golf with the biggest stages in golf.
It is. I pinch myself every night. I'm standing out at Pinehurst or Sawgrass or this year at Oakmont, and I'm standing out in the fairway hitting shots on the eve of major championships. It's ridiculous how lucky I am, and the people at Golf Channel that put me in this position to do it. It's like, it's amazing.
No, I see your photo. You don't have the mustache in the photo. The mustache is
Bud hat though. There's a Budweiser hat on.
There we go.
the mustache
There
is
we
an
go.
unbelievable business decision. Like it's been with you on your rise in this role. Like you can't get rid of it now. That's who you are. It's your character now.
I won with the mustache in 2012 and
That's right.
rode it out for a couple of years. And then when I got the TV gig, my wife, who hated the mustache, she said, "Well, you got to grow back."
You got
a
it.
mustache."
Wow.
Absolutely.
So she understands. She's part of the business. She's
Yeah,
like,
she's starting to like it a little more now.
I mean, if
bring
you
that
go,
bread
if,
home,
the
you
TV,
know?
if the cameras go on, you don't have the mustache on. They're just gonna fire you. Like, they're gonna fire you. Who is that?
Agreed.
You lose all your magic. Like that. That's a magical mustache.
Yeah.
dude, you have had such a roller coaster ride of hitting the shots.
Oh.
It is must watch, from the shot that you hit that almost went in, the Bryson shot at Pinehurst number 2. Was that the biggest highlight? That one was
great. I mean, there's so many cool. I mean, I got to hit shots on the postage stamp at Troon last year,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
were so cool.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously
I remember that the guys were like playing the hole.
they were,
And you were like, I guess I'll just kind of play with you.
I had a closest to the pin with Brian Harmon. He's a good friend, so I did not
Came
win.
a little short.
But last year here at the
Bang.
Players, I threw my arm out throwing balls, trying to prove Rory's innocence on a drop. Like it's just been every night.
great.
That
was a great clip.
Trying to
it-
prove his innocence.
It's so cool to play like this golf course in particular. Something epic is going to happen every single day, and so it's really easy to go out there and be like, "Ooh, I'm going to do this or that," and that's when it's fun, is when you get to choose.
Totally.
Was one of the hardest ones, that 4-iron. So Monday, the wind was whipping. These guys were down at the Barstool Classic in West Palm.
Crazy.
Wind whipping. And then they tried to have you recreate the Hal Sutton,
Be the right
be the
club.
right club today.
Be the right club today.
And I know Brandel's burying you, be the right club today.
Yeah.
He's all over you with that. But that had to be the hardest attempt so far.
Well, and it was cold, it was windy, and I didn't hit a ball, and I'm out there for an hour and a half just getting colder and colder, trying to stretch, trying to loosen up, and hadn't made
Jeez.
contact with the ground.
It's
I mean, you guys
impossible.
saw how bad I was back in December.
Video
or
hasn't been
November, but-
released yet, but I actually, you were better than I think.
I mean, you're a tour winner, I mean, you could play serious golf, but it is, dude, they put you out there cold. And then I'll say they don't do you any favors either with the mindset, because they kind of start chuckling at you as like Rich sends it to you.
Yes.
And you can hear Brandel kind of like chuckling under his breath, and then they show you with your mustache. And it's sort of like, all right, go do your thing
Right.
there.
Here I am hitting a 4-iron from 180 into the pumping wind at sunset.
It's so good, man.
great. And
It's-
then, okay, let me ask you a little bit of insight. Is it the 6th hole that has the new tree now?
Yes, I hit that shot last night.
You were hitting that shot last night.
Yep.
That shot to an amateur golfer looks impossible. It's like you're just teeing off into a tree.
Yes.
How impactful is, like, mentally the tree?
Extremely. And I don't think we're going to see anybody hit it during the tournament this year. I mean, maybe one, but every single player that steps up on that tee is going to think about hitting that tree, and it's going to alter the way that they hit the shot.
Right.
And you see a lot of bad tee shots on that hole now as a product of that tree being there.
Okay,
Wow.
interesting. Right,
Yeah.
because you're thinking I have to keep it low.
Yes.
And then you were saying, you were like, the farther right you hit it through the window, the lower the tree branch is. So if you draw the ball, you kind of, it affects everything about the shot.
It does. They're going to move the tee up a little bit, so
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit easier. But from that back edge of that tee, it is what in play.
Wow.
Well, you are a hero out there on
Yeah, you're
PG
the best.
coverage.
The best.
We kind of said, like, it's not really a big event unless Johnson-wagner gets his clubs out and is hitting shots on TV. So you've done an amazing job. You're a hero to all of us.
It's so much fun. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Love what
man.
y'all are doing too. Nice to have you as a part
Pleasure
of
to
the
meet
team
you.
too.
I'll have to take my hat off and give you a handshake here in a
Yeah,
minute.
I would like
All right,
that.
we'll see you out
See you
there.
guys.
Go
Thanks
ahead,
for
go ahead,
stopping
go-
by.
yeah, go
Get
ahead.
hands
Get
on
in
it.
there.
Yeah, get
Go
really
ahead.
nice.
The hats are coming off, boys.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're the man,
That
Johnson.
was
You're the
beautiful.
man.
That
That's
was
golf
beautiful.
right there,
Yeah,
baby.
dude.
That's what it's all about right there.
That
Why
is so
Why are you
good.
still taking shots at Brian Harmon?
Oh, the little things. I know. There's just little digs
We
here
love
and there.
Brian Harmon.
I know we do.
Okay.
There's little digs. There's just little digs.
Yeah, right.
Little digs. Little
Once in a
digs.
while. Nothing big.
He can handle it. Fires him up. He wins a major.
He
every
loves
time.
it.
I'm
One
glad.
of the
All right.
boys is a dog.
All right, I'm glad.
Dog. He's a dog.
Were you on that pod with us?
No.
Yeah, he loved it, man.
All right, good.
He was in his little hunting
It was.
cabin.
Yep.
Great guy.
Johnson-Wagner rules.
That guy's just the best. I love him. What a moment that was with him and Beef. That was
That
beautiful.
was awesome. I'll be smiling all day here, boys.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so the Monahan meeting, they did hit us with everything in here's off the record, which is fine. But man, we were able to go back and forth. And like you were kind of alluding to, Fred, it was a pretty intimate meeting.
It was as intimate as it gets for
Yeah.
for this week. For the president, essentially, of this organization, the guy that whenever he walks around, he's got Secret Service around him, basically. He's literally meeting with the president of the United States, trying to get this deal with Saudi Arabian regime. It's nuts. The guy is a man of international flair right now. Like, he is flying on huge Air Force One type planes, going to DC, coming back. This guy's living a life that he never thought he'd be living, and the fact that he gave us an hour of his time, took out a notepad, was writing down questions. There were times where we were just expressing the things that we like about the PGA Tour, things that we don't like, the things that we like about coming to the events and covering the events and the Creator Classic and all of the stuff that we do in our YouTube videos. We talked about ideas that we had, and he would look at me and kind of point at me and be like, I like that, and then write it down. At one point I said the word eggshells, walking on eggshells, and he goes, what was that term you used before there, Frank? Oh, eggshells. And he wrote down the word eggshells.
He's got eggshells on a piece
he's
of
got
paper
it-
somewhere.
Jay-Monahan
has
has
no
the
idea what it
word
means.
eggshells written in a red notebook that he carries
Eggshells.
around in his bag.
Like, is this
He's
my
going to be
grocery
go
list?
to
What
his
is
wife.
this?
His wife's to be like, what, do you got to go buy eggs?
Yeah,
eggs
eggs
are
are
kind of
crazy
popular
right
right
now.
now. Is that where you got to
Eggs
go?
are crazy. But
Yeah.
no, dude, it was a special moment. We've said a lot of shit about that guy.
Tons.
And a lot of people have said a lot of shit about that guy. No Laying Up has said a lot of shit
Tons.
about that guy. We've all said a lot of shit about him. And he sat there. He probably knew it. And he just keeps plugging along. This is not some Jay Monahan suckfest now just because we met the guy. But you got to respect someone that comes in there and gives you their time.
Yeah,
and
really
he actually
did.
cares.
He was-
He cares about this. And Adam Scott's here rocking a
was
black
in-
and gray outfit, which you never typically
was-
see out of Adam Scott.
he
It's
was up at
usually
the
an
White
array
House,
of
too.
browns.
But I don't know if you'd have other presidents or commissioners that would do that.
No.
Did you see Roger Goodell or Gary Bettman doing that for anything like that?
Yeah, probably
I
not.
couldn't see it.
No, I really couldn't. And it was funny, his one of his right-hand men there, who is a great guy, came over afterwards, yeah, sorry, we kind of missed that meeting 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you saw, we had to go up to D.C. and gave us a little wink where it's yeah, we were at the White House with the president. So it's dude, that's the company that he's kind of been rolling with the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, White House, Oval Office, big meeting, Yasser, Trump. Next week you look, State of the Union, jumps in a golf cart, sitting in a room with us.
It was
hearing what we
cool.
have to
It was
say.
cool for
So-
No Laying Up too. The way that they complain a lot about the broadcast and certain events and stuff, that they were able to voice their opinion to the highest man in the sport that they cover obsessively.
It was great.
For them to get that moment, they were kind of giddy that they were able to say the things that they've always wanted to say to him. So it was just cool to be a part of.
And
really.
they stood up to the moment too. They were they were
Yeah.
kind of articulating all the things they've been tweeting for years, which, like you're saying, they were sitting there writing down notes, and we're yeah, we appreciate that, kind of responding with some stuff. So yeah, it was we're more on the content side, they were more on kind of the broadcast side. Everybody was kind of feeding off each other on the feedback and whatnot. So it was great. Some of the things that he said in that State of the Union, pace of play. So the tour is now going to start implementing some changes related to pace of play. A big one is publishing data on who's fast, who's slow. They weren't fully transparent on if they're going to publish who is what. It was a lot more they're going to publish data on the averages, which rounds are slow, how many players are more slow here versus fast there. And then they were kind of asked directly, are you going to publish specifically who is slow? And they weren't fully open on that. And basically everyone's are you going to shame people?
Right,
Because
right.
shame is one of the great motivators in human history.
True.
And so, pace of play was talked about a lot. So they are sort of acknowledging some changes.
And Justin Thomas's mom just walked by behind the camera. That reminds me, he had a great quote that you can put in here, the audio of that, of him talking about his pace of play.
It definitely is. It's something I've said. If we put it in the locker room or put it out, which would obviously end up getting out, but nobody wants to be known as that. I mean, I'm the first to admit. I mean, I'm on the slow side of players. I think it bothers me, but it's I've talked to many officials about it. Like I want to know why I'm slow, because obviously the first thing that any slower player thinks is that they're not slow, and I never want to be the guy that gets paired with somebody and that person is like, oh my gosh, I have to play with Justin, he's so slow. Like, because I know guys that I get paired with that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to play with so and so, they're so slow, and it's not a fun feeling because you're going to be in the clock, and that's not fun. I mean, having to play a place like Bay Hill, if you're behind and you're warned, like that's not a fun place where you feel like you have to pick up pace.
Yeah, basically just talking about he knows that he's slow, and it gives him anxiety knowing that when he's out there are other people saying, I don't want to play with that guy because of this or whatever. And then that when you're the slow guy in the group and you're playing at Bay Hill, I know I'm repeating what he just said, but you get that anxiety over the ball where it's like, oh my God, do I have to rush now? Am I on the clock? Like, am I the one slowing up the group? So he also was an advocate for saying, just publish the names. Like, I want to know, am I that guy?
Right.
Like, you're literally going to shame me. Like, all right, if my name is posted in the locker room that I was the slowest guy at Bay Hill, I now have to react to that and make something different. Yeah. Right. You don't want to ruin other guys' chances at going out to win $4.5 million at the Players' Championship.
I really want them to publish the names.
Have to.
I don't think they will.
The players want it.
Some of the players want it, I would imagine. Some
Give us the
really
names.
Don't. Give us the names.
Names on the board. Give
us the names of the guys who don't want to, and then those are just the guys who are the slowest players.
Correct.
Yeah, 100%.
Agreed. Another big takeaway, he did sort of he addressed the live, PIF, PGA Tour situation. He conceded a few things that he's never really conceded before. One was that they do understand that they're probably going to, whenever they come to a deal, have to do something that is a combination of like the best or good things, whatever it is, from live with the PGA Tour. And then he said repeatedly 400 to 500 times, we are committed to the discussions and the negotiations. We are committed. We are committed. We are committed. It sounds very much like they truly want to get to reunification is their big word. And he, like I said, conceded for the first time that, like, yes, in order to do that, we understand we're going to have to take some things from live and include them. Never went farther to say if that's team golf, if that's international play, if that's franchises, whatever that might be. He didn't say, but he at least said, like, we're probably going to have to combine some things from live with the PGA Tour in order to get this thing done.
Yeah, there's definitely have to be some type of compromise somewhere, right? I think that both sides see the best thing is reunification. And like you said, jay-monahan said to every single reporter in the media room yesterday, again, I'm just reiterating, we are committed to making this process happen in reunification.
He also said that he will not waver from the progress that the PGA Tour is making.
A lot of momentum, he kept
There's
saying.
momentum there. So, like, yes, they need to come to a compromise, but they're not going to deviate from the things that they want to accomplish. So if Liv tries to come in and kind of stop that momentum, whether it be you take away some events or whatever they might be trying to do to like fit in something into a schedule, like we all don't know what this unification looks like. I think that he was pretty sternly saying, I will not ruin what we're building here. This would have to be an additive, bring these guys back into what we're doing, additive, what you want to bring into it. But like, we've got something going on. Yeah.
It can't diminish the product is what he said.
There's value here.
He was saying, and he wasn't flexing, but because it was more subtle than that. But he was saying like the PGA Tour attendance is up, the money's up. Like I know
engagement's up.
Like everybody talks shit about viewership, but that's a big part of like if you want to talk about the PGA Tour and you want to shit on it, it's like this viewership is no good. He's basically saying like both leagues are in a better spot than they were a few years ago when this all first started. He gave that to Liv too. He's like, Liv they've elevated, we've elevated. So we just got to somehow combine these two things into a reunification. And what that looks like, he wouldn't comment on that. But yeah, I think And he did say they don't have any other meetings planned, but this is obviously a busy week for the PGA Tour. But I don't know. I don't know if I came away from that feeling better or worse in terms of a timeline, but it was interesting nonetheless.
Brandel put it well last night on Live From. He said he spoke like a man holding a very strong hand of cards.
Yeah, I would agree with
kind
that.
of how he spoke, and I thought that was pretty warranted. I do, like we've kind of said, thematically throughout this early spring, late winter run here in golf, like California and then the Florida swing, that the tour does have some spread out momentum with like different players. It feels like it's not just the Scotty show right now, yet Scotty still has had several I think he's finished top 25 in every event. He's coming into this event as a back-to-back champion, the first time ever. Yet we've had Rory win. We've had Campbell kind of emerge as like a really cool story on a non-elevated event week.
Ludwig
Ludwig was awesome.
We've had a whole bunch of firsts.
The Phoenix Open was awesome as always, so it just feels coming in, right? Like this is a Ryder Cup year, Bethpage, there's a lot of hype around that. So coming in, it does feel like they have a lot of momentum. So he was very much like, yes, we're committed. He said that a million times to the process and to trying to get something done, but we're also not going to sacrifice what we believe has delivered a really good spot for us to be in.
Yep.
And I think he's right on that. So
Yeah.
it was the State of the Union is always interesting from there, and he kind of sits there. It's his, I think Frankie, he was saying yesterday, that's the biggest thing he does all year, right? Speech wise.
Has to be, yeah. It's this and the Tour Championship, but like I thought he did a great I thought he did a great job. He's a great public speaker, to be honest. Like regardless of the context or whatever he's saying, like the way that he looks down, kind of finds out where he is in his notes, and then looks up and makes eye contact with everyone. That's not an easy thing to do, the way that he kind of talks. So
No.
He's definitely an impressive leader of like a company. It's just he's found himself saying some things that he obviously wishes he didn't say, and he has a lot of foot and mouth situations at this point. But man, I would not want to trade spots with him at this level of the game, because he's in the mix, man. He's absolutely in the mix.
I thought he's got a lot more color in his face. You know what I'm saying? Like he almost had that little look of like.
Remember when he took the time off?
Stepped down for a little bit.
For just like mental health reasons or whatever.
Yep.
And just things were starting to get away from him a little bit,
Totally.
slipping away. And yeah, I mean, when you meet someone in person, you always have a different perspective of them.
That's our history.
felt bad for him, like watch him sit there and
that whatever, something around there,
Yeah.
right? Where it's just like whatever.
Change opinion when we meet.
There's one guy who
good name.
refuses.
Next
to,
on Change Opinion when we meet, episode 741.
we're pancakers. We're flip floppers. We make pancakes.
John Kerry, they called him a flip flopper. If I remember that.
There's one guy who refuses to loosen his grip on Monahan and the whole situation. And that's Eamon Lynch. He still writes scathing articles.
Scathing.
And
he's a great writer.
They're warranted, because at the end of the day, like there's one of the things that Monahan said, like, oh, you should go ask Yasser that question, and then like Eamon Lynch wrote a whole entire thing being like, so we should just go ask like that Saudi Arabian regime, who literally doesn't answer a single thing about all the atrocities that they do. Like, we're gonna get answers from him. Like, we don't even know where this guy is, who he is, what he's working for, who he's working for, like what are his end goal. Like, he was going nuts. Yeah.
There was a point in the meeting yesterday, again, everything's off the record, but where Jay Monahan's phone rang, and we were like, boy, I wonder who that is.
It was a wild ringtone. He had two phones. One phone that didn't really ring, probably buzz, and one that went and we're like, that's President Trump.
Or Yasser,
Yasser.
That felt like the bat phone.
It was
for
a
sure.
siren. It was
that
not
was
a
the
ring.
bat phone.
That was a siren. It literally went wah, 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 and he was like this, and he acted like surprised, like, oh, I'm just gonna turn that off real quick.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
I think it said the White House.
He could have been playing some high level commish games on us with like the, hey guys, hey commissioner, I have to let you know you're late to your 1:30. There might not have been a 1:30.
No.
That's like a high level executive move.
Yeah, no,
you know what? I'm gonna miss that meeting and stay here with these guys. There's no 1:30.
I feel like we're pretty easily manipulated in a situation
Oh,
like
dude,
that.
they hand us good sandwiches.
Sandwiches were good.
Nice,
gave me
Coca-Cola
a pullover, or gave us hoodies.
Yeah, gave us hoodies, gave us a peanut butter cookie.
Speak of the damn
They
devil,
gave us
by the way.
They gave us a cookie. And it's
Eamon
Eamon fucking Lynch.
walking by.
He emerges from Satan's den.
From the darkness.
There he is. Refuses to come on the show. We'll see if we can get him over
Emerging
here.
from Lucifer's lair.
You want to?
He spit on us. This guy
You
is
son of a
absolutely out of control.
He's incredible.
Perfectly timed. He writes for Satan. I know he does. He meets with them once a
love him.
week. I fucking love that guy.
He's the best.
He
He
has
really
a darkness to him, but he also he has his like morals that he likes to write about, and
Sure.
he holds very true to them. He's an
Yeah.
actual journalist that has his takes. I'm honestly stunned to see him here because he has very opinionated thoughts, right? And then like they still let him come here and
Oh,
give his
yeah.
thoughts, and
Oh, yeah, he's
he
just
may be anti certain decisions,
Lucifer.
but he fucking comes here and he says it how it is, and you got to respect that, man. He has never ever wavered from who he is.
What a funny mother. He's
He
a
is
principled man.
One of the funniest
is.
man. He's one of the funniest men I've ever gotten the chance to
He's
know.
got an incredible wit.
He doesn't even try and be funny. That's the best part.
I think, yeah, he's great. His articles are must read. Golf Week.
God.
All right. What else did I have on my list here? I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't
You know, we
really,
do a lot of chatting with.
You got something here, Bush?
Yeah, we just got a cool bet for this week from
You got a bet
DraftKings.
for this week.
Okay.
Yeah, we have hole in one on
Oh,
17.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's
Hole in
going
one
on
on
17
17?
odds?
So it'll probably change throughout the week, but right now it's plus 160 yes,
Starting
minus
at plus
200 no.
160.
Okay. I love this.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm doing a yes.
I'm doing a yes for
Absolutely.
sure. So
I
go
think-
on the DraftKings Sportsbook and just bet yes or no on a hole in one. Is that 17 specifically?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
17 throughout the entire week.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna hammer yes.
I mean,
It's
there's
possible.
yeah, that's a great spot to be in, right? You get to watch the players. You get to watch 17.
Plus 160.
One of the greatest holes in the world.
Hopefully they do
Just
two
rooting for a
front
hole in
left.
one there is worth the price of admission.
So fun.
They'll do at least one front left pin location.
Yep.
In which case, there's definitely a good
the
chance.
slope brings it down.
Hopefully they do two. You know. Hopefully they do.
Okay.
Is there anything else that happened on our way here? What?
Great Barstool Classic.
Barstool Classic
We
at-
talked about that a little bit.
Yep. At the park was good.
Windy as hell, but fun.
Trying to think. I sometimes look through my
I
phone.
don't think I've got anything else.
No, like I said, we cover a lot with Gary and with Adam. They're great guests. You know, I feel like it's best
I
to
don't-
hear a lot from the tournament from them.
I had a funny, a funny little story, like just a weird one. I think I told you guys, but my wife had her baby shower, and everyone was there, and no one knows if it's a boy or girl. Everyone's deciding when they get there, they're gonna write like boy or girl, and like they write it in blue, they write it in pink. It's a whole game that they play. Halfway through the day, a woman walks in holding a gift. She doesn't notice anyone. She doesn't recognize anyone. Everyone's kind of looking at her like, who is this person showing up late to this party? Shows up with a huge blue box and throws it on the table, and it says it's a boy, and it says written in huge letters Frank the Third on it, which is fucking. She was from another party.
had
It was
to be
in another
losing your
room
mind.
upstairs. There was a restaurant that had two different rooms, one in the basement, one on the main floor, one upstairs, and she went to the wrong one, and that party upstairs must have been for a baby named Frank the Third. What are the odds of that? So everyone was freaking out. I got
fucking crazy?
my dad's crying, saying that's my mom and dad. You know, it's like the Italian in
The
us is-
spirits have entered the
spirits have
room.
entered the room, and it's just like it's bizarre, man.
Very-
right?
I
Like,
will agree with that for sure.
super bizarre.
So now, I mean, I don't know what.
I think a lot of people went and changed the girl's
gonna
decision
say.
to a boy,
Mhm.
or it's like if you want to talk about like the spirit in the room, it's almost like someone telling us like it ends at Frank the Third. You know what I mean? Like,
You could read it a couple different
yeah,
ways.
there's a
That's
lot of ways
true.
to read
A lot
it,
of
but
interpretation there.
all I know is that that was a weird thing to happen. Like of
Right.
all the names, there's not many Frank the Thirds, let alone having a baby shower, let alone on Long Island, let alone in the same restaurant, let alone, you know what I mean? There's a lot of let alones.
I don't know if I've ever met another Frank the Third
Never me.
in my life.
Is Frank Kaminsky? Is he a third?
Oh, he might be.
Frank Kaminsky. He
Frank
could be
Kaminsky
Frank
the third.
Tank.
He might be.
He might be
Second
the third.
would just
Frank,
be Junior, no?
Yeah. He might be the third.
I don't know
Frank-
why that popped into my brain immediately.
Frank Kaminsky the third. I think that is right.
That would be what a pull by
Is
me.
your
that
dad
would be.
known as Junior?
No, that he's the third, right?
Frank
Wow, good
Kaminsky?
call.
Wow, thank
Wow.
you.
No, so like they always like his cousins and stuff, like all like the Italians and the Floridians, they'll call him like Frankie Boy. So it was
Yeah,
always like
yeah.
Frank and then Frankie,
Yeah.
Frankie Boy. And I was always little Frankie and he's big Frank. Like there's like all these different variations of Frank. Like no matter where you are in the house, like my mom would say Frank and we would both say what, and then she'd be like Frankie and we both say what, little Frankie, and then I'd come running out of the room, or big Frank, and
Hello, Mama.
yeah.
Pretty good.
I have to give a shout out to
impression there by
our
me.
boy Nico Echavarria,
Yeah.
who yesterday met Beef and was calling him carne asada.
Carne.
El Carne.
Carne
Yeah.
asada.
We had a great day with him.
He's the best. I
Oh,
love
beef,
that guy.
yeah, carne asada. Oh shit! I started to like move my hips a little bit.
Yeah, that was
Little
nice.
Colombian flair.
There is, like, it
we
almost
also
makes
saw
you
our
wanna
one
dance
putt
a little bit.
Columbia guys that we had met
You
here
did?
like 4 years ago. Came right up to us, shook our hands, said that they've been doing great.
Good.
Still doing the thing, like based off of the fore-play deal. They go to the whole entire Florida swing, and then they go back to Columbia. They're
Amazing.
following Nico this week. And,
Our main
yeah.
guy there's in like media grad school in Miami. He's
Oh,
saying.
cool.
So he gets to
Awesome.
do all the Florida swing.
Awesome.
Those guys are great.
Those guys are great.
Shout out to what is it? One Putt Columbia.
One Putt Columbia. There are like our Colombian leg of foreplay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
right.
That's
Division.
exactly right.
It's like Bizarro World when they do it on Seinfeld, Bizarro World.
Yes.
There
We should
are
acquire them.
Colombian version.
They are our Colombian version. Yeah, you should, right?
You know,
like
like
start
become-
doing all our YouTube videos in Spanish and and
Doesn't Mr. Beast do that?
he does
yeah,
that. He does it in
I
every
remember
single
him on Rogan
language.
saying that like
He has Mr. Beast like China, Mr. Beast India, and it's like all different.
Why
All the
wouldn't you?
subtitles are changed, right?
Yeah,
think
they
that's
changed.
right.
I think they do voiceovers too.
Dude, do you think we could become huge in Japan? They love golf there.
Wouldn't hurt to try.
All right. I'm pumped for this week. You know, we got Atlanta Barstool Classic, I believe, on Monday. So we're going to have a whole crew there. So we just kind of keep rolling. And we'll have a show out on Tuesday responding and reacting to everything that happened at this year's 2025, the 51st playing of the Players' Championship.
I think after the interviews, we do our little take on you, right? Because each guy kind of talked. We talked about the creator.
do
Yeah, I
that
think we
with
put it
you.
at the end.
So, and you're going to want to listen to these interviews anyway. It's great. Gary Woodland, obviously Netflix, the whole entire story about him, his comeback. Probably one of the greatest stories in sports right now. So
Yeah.
good.
surviving a brain tumor and coming back, playing on the PGA Tour. He's here this week. It's awesome. If you've watched the Netflix episode, it's going to make you cry. We get him on the show. And then Adam Hadwin, you're going to want to listen to that. Big hockey guy, great Canadian, future American citizen probably when we, acquire them, whatever.
51st state.
Yep, I liked how you said
Governor
that.
Trudeau.
For now, right?
Mhm.
Canada,
For now.
great country for now.
Yeah.
He got a good laugh at that.
Yeah, he did.
Great guys, really, really good show. So
Uh,
listen for after the Creator Classic recap.
Yeah.
For us, golf is very simple. It is a chance to get out and have some fun with our friends. Guess what's going to make that better? Fireball, whiskey, the nips, 50-milliliter shooters. Everybody knows when it's Fireball time, it's a great time, especially on the golf course.
Always, always a great time with Fireball in the golf bag. You make a birdie, you pop the top, you throw it down the gullet.
that
Feels
top.
good, tastes good, ready to rock. Whether you're on the golf course, you're in your house playing Shotsy. It's a drinking version of Yahtzee that I like to play. Someone rolls a Yahtzee, everyone takes a shot of Fireball. You can always make things fun with a little bit of Fireball in your life.
Elevates everything, you know.
It does.
We're talking
Vibes
about
changer.
elevated events in golf. It's going to elevate your event no matter what you're doing.
Yep.
Just get everybody going, feeling loose. It's delicious. There's no glassware. You don't need a chaser. You just rip those 50-milliliter shooters back, toss them in the trash, and you are ready to rock. Number one shot in the U.S. If you're feeling like upping the ante on the golf course this weekend while you're watching the players this weekend, maybe out at the bar, maybe with your friends, maybe you're hosting a little viewing party, whatever it might be, make sure you grab the new Fireball Birdie Shot Club. It is literally a golf club filled with Fireball nips. Fireball's iconic cinnamon flavor. The shooters, check them out and enjoy yourself. New Barstool and the Players Championship merch is available now in PGA Tour 2K25 inside the PGA Tour Superstore. Plus, you can redeem the locker code PLAYERS, that is the word PLAYERS, right now to receive a free exclusive Barstool The Players Championship t-shirt and hoodie now for a limited time through March 23rd. This game is fantastic. We love golf video games. We always have. The fact that we've got gear in there, PGA Tour 2K25 is just an excellent time.
Love playing it. The society is off and running. Last I checked, we had 12,000, 13,000 members in the Barstool Golf Society.
Yep.
We're starting to chip away at it. Got some good players in there. They're all wearing the Barstool Golf merch. Make sure that you equip your player with the Barstool Golf merchandise that's inside the PGA Tour Superstore within the game. You play in the society events. We've got one this weekend at tpc-sawgrass called the Sawgrass Shootout. You play in there. I think it's 25 coins to enter. And then all of a sudden, if you win the thing, there's a huge purse, right? So I give thousands and thousands of coins out to the winners, and it's divvied up on where you finish. And just go low, and you're going to win a lot of coins to be able to spend those on new merchandise, new clubs, the whole entire deal. It's a great game. We've been playing it here at TPC Sawgrass. Trent hit his shot on 17 in the video game.
Yes, he did.
He hit it to about
47
feet. And can he get it closer in
Take
real
that
life?
one to the bank.
Is he going to hit it closer in real life or not? I did it at Pebble Beach. I hit it closer in the video game than I did in real life because I've never hit the green at 7 at Pebble Beach. I think you'll hit it closer in
Made
real
a nice
life
par, though.
on 7. I did make a nice par. I think you'll hit it closer on 17 at Sawgrass.
So I'll be honest, I'm going to North Carolina this weekend. I'm going to go do a little housework. And on the way down from Charlotte, I'm going to acquire an Xbox for the house because I really,
That's awesome.
dude. At night when the nights are a little bit sleepy there, when you're there kind of alone, it's a village. It's not necessarily like a thriving city. I'm gonna sit there and play in the society and do a little PGA Tour
so much
2K25.
fun, man.
God,
It really
cannot
is.
wait.
So smooth. They really upgraded everything. It's great.
Connect your 2K account for free Barstool apparel and PGA Tour 2K25. Check out the full range of Barstool apparel in PGA Tour 2K25 within the PGA Tour Superstore. All right, folks, we are here at the Players Championship. We are joined by a great friend of the program, 2019 U.S. Open winner at Pebble Beach. He is the recent recipient of the PGA Tour Courage Award. I'm sure a lot of people have watched Netflix, have seen a ton about you. Fun fact about you, Gary Woodland was there the night that Barstool Scottsdale opened.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's the most impressive
That's a lot
thing.
more fun than the other stuff. I can promise you. The U.S. Open was cool, but opening Barstool
That's why I
was a nice
finished the
time.
resume with that.
let's
No, we
go.
had a nice little time that night. It's great to see you. You got a
to see
nice
you, boys.
smile going. You're looking
Thanks.
good.
Appreciate
I, obviously opened a little bit with it. It's Netflix is everywhere right now. We were kind of talking before we came over. It's just like it was very emotional. We can get through all of it, but it was very touching for all of us. How are you doing now? How are you feeling?
I'm getting better. Obviously, it's been a journey for me the last couple of years, but we got systems in place now that I can do every day that help me get through the day and live the life that I want to live. I mean, last year it was a new experience, right? Coming off the surgery, I didn't know how I was going to deal with all the stimulation, and I wasn't prepared for that. Let's say, and it was hard. But if I wouldn't have played last year, and I shouldn't have played from a competitive standpoint, I had no chance. But if I wouldn't have played, I wouldn't be in the position I am right now, where I believe I can go out and compete this week, because I realize what hurts me, what doesn't hurt me, what I can do each day to feel better. If I wouldn't have played last year and struggled through it, I wouldn't understand that today. So I'm in a little better place right now than I was a while ago.
That's interesting because, watching it, it's very much, we're so used to, and obviously they do a great job with all the context. So everybody is so aware, and kind of them panning from you guys going to the hospital and then to the tournament, and it's the British Open and all of it. They did such a good job with it. But as a viewer, we're so used to like Tiger Woods, this player, they're there, they're going to win. And then it was such a human look at you going and being like, I am not in a great headspace. This is so hard, but here I am. So did you feel from a competitive standpoint, was it, based on like trying to keep status? Was it trying to learn from it? What was driving you to be there?
One, I have a lot of belief in myself, and I just believed at one point I'd catch lightning in a bottle. That's probably a little optimistic, but the surgeons told me before surgery, hey, you're going to be swinging a golf club. Like, your skull and everything will heal pretty quickly. You're just not going to want to play. And I didn't know what that meant, because I got home 3 days after surgery. I grabbed a putter, and I'm like, let's go. And then I'm like, there's a lot more than goes into a golf tournament that shows up on Thursday and playing 4 rounds of golf. And
Right.
my brain wasn't ready to handle that stimulation. And so that sucked, right? At the end, there's no other way to put it. But I kept learning and learning. I could go as the year gone on. I'm like, oh, now I'm starting to hit the shots at home. I just couldn't handle the stimulation, and playing multiple weeks in a row, playing with fans and everything that goes on with it. I just couldn't do it. And I believed in myself. I'm like, oh, this is the week. I'll figure it out this week, and I couldn't do it. But I tried.
Can't even
But,
imagine.
It's so great because that's like, as a weekend golfer, we feel that every time we step on the tee in much simpler terms of like, I haven't felt that great on the range. I really don't know what I'm doing with my golf swing. Today's the day.
Today's the day.
This is ready to go.
This is it.
Yeah.
Dude, leading into the surgery, was there a moment on the golf course that you were like, something is, because when you watch the episode, that like things were just happening, right? And like things may have been slipping, and you're like, I don't know, all the fears coming in. You're like, what is going on? You probably feel like it's your own fault. You don't know what's going on. Was there a moment on the golf course that you're like, something's really, really wrong? Was there a specific tournament, a shot that like set something off where you're like, all right?
There was. And it's funny. I guess it's not funny, but it's funny looking back that, like I just said, I believe I can do anything. And I had been battling this for months, and it was Greensboro. So whatever year that was, 2 years ago, the last term of the year, I was playing well. Like I just was struggling with the mental side of it. My caddy and I were staying in a house together,
And we get done on Sunday. I finished whatever I finished. I don't know what it was. And we're driving back to the house, and he's like, GW, you can't play this way. Like there was multiple shots on that tournament where I'd be holding the club. I'm like, Butch, what club do I have again? Like I'm saying, I'm like, Butch, what are we doing here? Like the putt's going which way? Like, and I was playing so good, I just believed it was going to happen. But my caddy's like, GW, you can't play this way. Yeah. Like it's this doesn't work. And so the next week's when I went to the surgeon, and I'm like, hey, this is getting worse. It's getting to a point where I can't even remember. I thought I was losing my memory. Like, you're not losing your memory. This thing's making your brain go so fast, you can't think. And that's when surgery, literally, we found out the next week I was going to have surgery.
Wow, man. So now the state that you're in now, kind of they left the episode, which was such an emotional finish of you really, for all the viewer, putting life really in such perspective of just being like, hey, I know like maybe I didn't have the finish in that event that I wanted, but like I feel good and felt good. I was able to get through a whole day of hanging with my family and my kids, and I can't tell you how, like, you're talking to your wife, who seems to be the best person on the planet, and like you're just kind of, it's giving me chills talking about it. You're just kind of saying like, I know all that other stuff, it would be cooler if that went better, but what's really cool is like I just had a full week and then a full day with like my family, and it was awesome. Yeah. So how are you with that now? I know I kind of asked you at the beginning, but like with the meds, I know you're trying to get the doses down and all that. Kind of, are you still in that positive headspace that you were in?
Because I can get up. Like the biggest test for me, I think, throughout this, I started feeling better towards the end of the last year. I found out I am on the meds indefinitely now, so I'm not going to get off. But I started to feel better. We started to put these systems in at the end of the year. The biggest test for me was Phoenix Open this year, right? We don't have a tournament outside
Chaos.
Of maybe a major championship gets big, but from a stimulation standpoint, we see nothing like Phoenix. And
right.
I was able to, I got up early every day, did more of my stuff in the morning, and I felt great. Like, I'm like, if I can feel good this week, I know I can play any week out here. So that was the biggest test for me, and I passed, and that makes me excited, and now I'm excited to be every week.
I was on the range rolling up, like stumbling around. G-Dub! You're like, God damn, you can't get away from that.
Lower the volume a little bit. Isn't it funny though? Like that perspective, you now have is like, everybody wishes they had that perspective, but obviously nobody wants to go through what you went through. But like having that perspective now of just like he's saying, like Riggs is saying, you finished whatever in the tournament, didn't play as well as you wanted to, but just getting up, hanging with the kids, going through the processes, like you wish everybody could have that perspective without having to go through what you went through.
And at the end of the day, I'm able to a point now. I'm at a point where I can live the life I want to live.
Right.
Like last year wasn't the life I want to live. Being miserable all the day, not being around being with my kids, not being competitive in the one dream that I've had my whole life. I'm to a point now, even, I missed the cut 2 weeks ago. Like, I'm getting better. I know things come. I know I'm knocking on that door. Like, having that perspective is a massive deal. And maybe I wouldn't have realized that if I wouldn't have struggled as much as I did last year.
Right.
How important has your relationship with Justin Thomas been? Because I thought that the story and kind of, how it sort of, it came off almost like you just were like, I gotta tell somebody.
It got to that point, right? I had held it in for 4 months, and I hadn't said it to anybody. And it was weird. We were playing in Minneapolis. I mean, I'll never forget it. We were playing with Joel Dame. We were a featured group, so cameras are everywhere. And Joel was off to the left, and JT and I were walking down the fairway, and he's like,
poor Joel's off to the left.
Yeah. He was
looking
in
for
crap. He had a horrible
looking
shot.
for
Snap
TaylorMade
hooked
2.
We finally got some privacy here.
I think the wing got it, Joel. It wasn't a bad shot. The wing probably left. But JT's like, G-Dub, how you doing? And it wasn't like, what's up? Like, JT and I talk a decent amount, but it was like somebody was telling me, hey, he's asking you how you're doing in life. And I'm like, I wanted to tell him. I literally was getting ready to. Finally, bro, I'm like, 4 months, I'm finally going to tell somebody. And there's a boom mic sitting right next to us. I'm like, I'll tell you later. And I kind of, to be honest with you, I kind of forgot about it. I'm like, it's not the right time. I shouldn't tell anybody. And the next day, he's like, Gina, what were you going to say to me yesterday? And it was Friday. It was cut day. Both JT was struggling last year as well. And I'm like, JT, I got a brain tumor, man. It was on 15. He bogeyed 15, 16, 17. He says he didn't, but he did. He missed the cut by one.
He did. You're like, no, it's on the internet.
He blames it on me. We can.
Right.
But to be honest with you, it was a massive relief for me. Just and I still didn't tell anybody else, but just the fact that somebody else knew was huge. And I've seen the episode, since it came out, and it was one of those where I told my son.
Oh, the seagull.
Oh, speaking to the guy.
Doing seagull thing.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, it's something I've struggled. People ask me for crap. I'm not usually asking for somebody.
Yeah.
And for JT just to ask randomly, how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, it was a massive release for me, and something that hopefully people don't hold stuff in too much. Hopefully you find somebody to talk to, because it definitely helped me. It was definitely a massive release for me.
And you kind of talked about how he's followed up with you just nonstop.
He is. He's checked in. He's like, the little kid in the relationship. I'm supposed to be the adult checking in on him, trying to take him under my wing a little bit, but he's been massive for me, just randomly checking in how I'm doing really on a weekly basis. I still get too many MRIs done all the time, and he's checking how they're doing, how the med's going. So it's been nice to have somebody out here checking in on me on a weekly basis.
Well, and when you're battling something like this as well, it takes a huge community around you of a support structure.
Yeah.
Somebody that we both know together is Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney of the Folds of Honor, and I know that he was the one that did your wedding and everything, and just having somebody like that in your corner to be a part of this process as well.
That's why we did the show. My wife is petrified of a camera. Wants nothing to do with cameras around. My kids thought it was the greatest thing ever. But
It's awesome.
I wanted to tell the story from the standpoint, I am surrounded by amazing people. I mean, the golf world, the players, the caddies, the tour, the media, everyone has been so amazing to me and helped me. It pains me to think somebody's out there and doesn't have that.
Right.
And so hopefully they can see my story and be like, if this guy can get through it, I can get through it. And I battle every day. I got still shit going on in my head every day. That somebody be like, I'm not alone. This guy's going through it too. And so that's why we did the show. That's why we told the story. Netflix was amazing. The tour was amazing to open up that avenue, to give us a platform to speak on. And we're definitely thankful for that.
It's just a perspective thing too for the viewers, man. Like, even if you're not going through something like that, like for me, like I'm about to have my first kid in 7 weeks, and like watching you with your kids, man. Like, I mean, you're not gonna make me cry on a podcast here, but like I'm about to go into that and like seeing like what that meant to you, and like, for me, I'm just going through the motions. Like, everyone tells you, oh, it's gonna be the greatest thing in your life, and you don't know it until it happens, right? And for me, I'm watching you sit there. I'm sitting there in a hotel room, like watching on my iPad. I'm like, oh my God, like this is real. Like this is actually gonna change me, because look at the effect it's having on you. Like, you're writing those letters. You're like to me, I couldn't even put myself in that position yet, because I'm just living my own life right now. And so yeah, I mean, honestly, thank you for like that really changed my perspective on what I'm about to go through, because it really showed me like this is something way more than I anticipated.
I appreciate that. It's my kids especially, they put things in perspective real quick, right? I mean, the birdies and bogeys don't matter when I come home. They just want dad home. And that's what was so hard for me through this whole thing was I had a lot of bogeys last year. There weren't many birdies, but when I came home, I still couldn't deal with the stimulation. My kids were I'd have to leave the room. And they're young, they don't understand. So my wife would have to, one, come checking on me while I'm laying in a dark room, and then going out and telling the kids that daddy's not feeling well. Like, daddy's home. He's finally home. Why can't he be with us? And that was hard.
And you're like, in your mind, you're Superman. You won the U.S. Open. You played basketball. You're PGA Tour pro. Everything's going great. Handsome cat. Like, and it's like, you probably, it's got to be such a struggle to be like, why is this not going perfect?
Well, and that's why it was such a shock for me when this all started. Was like, I mean, I'm young. I'm athletic. Like, what the hell's? Am I going crazy right now? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it came out of nowhere, and that's the crazy thing. If you can never be too safe, I guess. I mean, it's always, this can happen to anybody.
So your game right now, like we have goals set out for this year, or is there expectations? Or
I mean, I'm knocking on the door. I showed some signs earlier this year. I'm back with Randy Smith, who I started with, who got me out here to begin with a long time ago. It's the game's coming. I'm knocking on the door, and it's not just me being optimistic. I'm hearing it from my team. They're like, I told Randy Smith, like, I'm so close, and he's like, well, then get a fork out and start eating. Like, stop complaining about it. So I know it's coming. I'm going to keep knocking, and I'm expecting big things soon.
I'm glad. Let's talk a little golf. We, you won at Pebble Beach. We've had the discussion on this show because now we're here at tpc-sawgrass, and we've kind of gone over in our heads what are the most iconic golf courses on the planet. And I think there's, kind of top three that are pretty obvious. You've won at one, Pebble, Augusta, Old Course. Would you put this in that top 4 or 5?
It's iconic for one. It's one that we come back to every year. Obviously, you got the 17th hole. That is, I would say, one of them. They would be an iconic hole.
Yeah.
The golf course, we're trying to make it that, right? We're trying to make it the 5th major. I think the other ones stand out, maybe just from a long history and tradition standpoint. But this golf course, I don't know if it's iconic, but it's demanding. I tell you that this golf course has had my number for a long time. There's we're looking down 18 right now. I mean, you're not finding a tee shot that's more demanding than that tee shot. But I think it's getting that. There's been some amazing finishes here. 16, 17, 18 are just the finishing holes. You can make eagle on 16, 17. It's coming down the stretch from a pressure standpoint. I don't know if there's a better par 3. And then 18, it's one of the best finishing holes in golf. So it's close. I say it has some iconic holes on it for sure.
What is it about this golf course? I heard him talking on live from last night. I was on my flight. I was just consuming all of it. I can't get enough of it. I love it. But they were going through and showing how a lot of the most notable players over the last 20 years, their average finish here is way worse than their average finish for their career. I think it was like Tiger Woods, for example, is like 52% of the time in his whole career he finishes inside the top 10, and here he only finished inside the top 10 15 or 20% of the time. And they're showing like 10 different players. They were talking about the fact that everybody from Fred Funk or Webb Simpson to Rory McIlroy has been able to win here. What is it about this course that just kind of anybody could win, but also everybody seems to struggle here?
It's one of the most visual, demanding golf courses we see by far in golf. There's just every hole. It's not like a golf course that's 7,800 yards. I mean, I would say one of the shorter courses we play, and it's annoying, right? I mean, there's just shots. You hit good shots, and they don't end up in perfect spots. The greens are small. And then you have holes like this where when the wind gets blowing, and we've moved from March to May, trying to find better weather. The golf course now is completely different. It's overseeded now instead of, Bermuda. Oh, maybe that'll be easier. Maybe it'll be a little softer. And it's still just there's shots out here that are annoying, and there's a lot of them.
It's a great clip.
Trent Daddy's playing tomorrow.
I got to play the back 9
Let's
tomorrow.
go. All right.
I got to play the back 9 tomorrow.
Any tips for him on the back 9?
Yeah, you got any tips for me going down the stretch there?
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice.
It's going to annoy the hell out of me. I know that. I know that for a fact. I'm very nervous, but it should be fun.
Pete Dye had a heyday building this one, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a lot of that? You still got that 2-iron, that long?
The 2-irons, it's going to be tough to get that one out of place. Especially coming back, I know that's still one shot in my bag. I know I can control a little bit. So
how far does that thing go? Talk to me about that.
It flies
shot.
about 235, 240. So when I get it firm, it's getting out there 275, 280. This week it won't get that far. I'll hit it about 250, 255. But anytime you get in the fairway out here, especially with the rain we got yesterday, the golf course should be a little softer. You can attack a little more.
Big month for you too, March Madness, right? I'm sure you're all over it, right?
Kansas, we're spoiled, right? I mean, we're just not where we've been historically. We got talent. They got some big guys. Hopefully they get hot at the right time and figure it out. But it's been a frustrating years, but we always believe in Bill Self, and hopefully he's got a miracle up his
It's
sleeve.
interesting for you watching March Madness, because for me, from New York, I really don't have. I mean, you got St. John's, and obviously there's all those little schools that can make runs. Like Hofstra sometimes makes it to the tournament, but like for you being such a big college basketball fan, the tournament must be so much different for you, because once your team's out, are you just like checked out and clocked out? Somewhat like similar for me with like professional sports. Like I'm not watching the playoffs if the Islanders are out. Are you not watching the rest of the tourney if Kansas doesn't make it?
They're going to make it. I think that's 36 straight years, just whoever's counting. But
wow, that's an insane stat.
It's hard for me to watch. I love college basketball, but I'm a diehard Kansas fan. So if I've been fortunate enough with the Chiefs for the last couple of years. Yeah, I probably wouldn't watch that if they didn't lose, but they're in the Super Bowl every year, so at least I watch the Super Bowl. But
it's true. That area of the country has had some pretty.
We got Bobby Whitnell in baseball. We got a lot going on.
Pretty good run right now.
We're doing all right now.
Yeah, that is a nice run. What's your whole setup like this week? Do you bring what's the team that you bring? Do you have like a chef? Do you room with other guys?
I rented a house this week thinking the family was going to come, and they're not coming this week. So they're going to.
She's got a whole house?
I got a house. My caddy's in there.
You're looking for roommates?
Agent's coming in tonight.
Where's that thing at?
It's right down the road. Actually.
Great.
So
great.
Yeah, I'll make typically when I've had a house here, I've had chef with me, but this was a little more last notice, so caddy's cooking all week, so we'll see how that works out.
He's got a full gig this week.
We're putting him to work.
Yeah, he's going to be grinding. Do you play a lot of the course, or do you just do 9 a day?
I'm gonna play. I'll play 9 today, 9 tomorrow. Yesterday, I would have played 9 yesterday, but the wind's a complete opposite direction. It's going to be all week yesterday, and it was pumping. So yesterday was just a practice day, and then we'll get out 9 and 9 the next 2 days.
And G-Dub, when you're going out and playing these practice rounds here, is it more of just picking certain lines you're looking for that might be there, come the weekend?
Yeah,
target areas that you're trying to land the golf ball into?
I played this course, I don't know, this might be my 15, 13, 14, somewhere around there. I played here a bunch. So I know the golf course, right? It's seeing that line, seeing those shots, getting comfortable, realizing when we're practicing today where the wind's going to be all 4 days. So I have an idea when I go to the range afterwards, I can practice that shot.
Yeah, still having the intent in there, right?
But it's correct. It's more trying to get visual cues and the speed of the golf course, because with the rain that we got, I don't know how many inches we got, but it dumped. The golf course will play a little differently probably early in the week than it will later in the week. So understanding the ball is probably, you can be a little more aggressive early in the week, and you're going to have to plan for a little more release later in the week.
So Rory just walked by. Every time I see him do that bop, it's so fun.
Rory?
Yeah.
He's got a good strut.
It's the most strut walk I've ever seen in my entire life.
If I were Rory, I would walk like that too.
It's so boppy.
The better he's playing, the boppier you
like
get.
Everyone else has just like a regular walk. Like Gary Woodland walks down the middle of the fairway. It's just like, it's just a regular walk.
If I had Rory's resume, I would walk like that too, dude.
You,
wouldn't you?
Yeah, why not?
Right. Undeniable bop.
Correct.
Oh, man.
It's a hell of a bop.
Yeah.
You ever think about your walk or not really?
I mean, people say I strut a little bit.
You
but
have a little bit of a slightly slower pace, which comes off like a strut.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was. Everyone's like, "Why do you?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just the way I walk. I don't know. It's not something I practice. It just comes out that way.
Born with that swag.
It just comes out like that.
That's
It's
great.
just a smooth stroll down the fairway.
That's some
right?
swagger. I remember you came into that Barstool office with that U.S. Open
Holding that
trophy.
trophy,
was
man.
swaggy.
God
That was a
damn.
swaggy entrance.
We just got back from Pebble. We do like a buddies trip each year, and it's just like, I can't believe winning the U.S. Open there. That
So
place
good,
is
right?
so
I mean,
fucking good.
This is my first year playing since I won.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was amazing to be back. I walked in, had dinner one night in the tap room, and it's like a shrine in there. I'm like, I could get used to this. I need to do this at more places. This
Give me shrines all over the
Come
place.
on.
here.
What do you hit into 17?
I mean, it depends. U.S.
With the
Open,
wind.
we played a back tee, so I was hitting long. This for AT&T, the tees were up, so I was hitting 6 and 7 irons. U.S. Open, I was hitting 5 and 4.
I was gonna say, like, with the wind a little bit up, I was hitting like a 4-iron into that thing. It looks like such an easy hole. There's really not much to it. It's just right in front of you, right? Obviously, the ocean's all right behind it, but it is not an easy closing.
No.
Like
That tee shot on it, I was so. Looking back, the best thing for me was obviously the chip on 17 was nice, but making birdie on 14 to give me a couple shot lead, because 18 I got to step up and hit 4-iron. Like that's not a shot. For me, I cut it, so I'm aiming in the middle of the water. Trying to overcut it back. If I overcut it, it's out of bounds. Like having that 2-shot lead and being able to hit iron was amazing. That tee shot is brutal. It's a great finishing hole, but that tee shot's awful.
even the layup's like dicey too, right?
Very.
Like,
It gets really
I
narrow at the
get over.
elbow.
I hit
Bunker
4-iron.
back.
I hit it right and it was in the first cut. My caddy's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I just want to wedge it. I don't care. Just give me a club to get me wedge." And hit 5-iron. I slid underneath it. I hit it heavy. I had 8-iron in my third shot.
Oh my God.
All I wanted was a wedge. Now I got 8-iron.
You're like, I'm doing the thing here.
Here we go.
Cameras are definitely on. I'm doing it.
Louise, but
No, it is like you get distracted. It's such a beautiful tee. You take your phone out, and then you look out there, and you're like, where the hell am I going to hit this thing? Like on 18, it's ridiculous.
Man.
Yeah, it's so cool. That place, they've got like the wall of champions, and you're just like on it.
it's cool.
Iconic.
You're just there. It's very cool. All right, G-Dub.
Yeah, man.
Awesome story. I think the whole world, everybody who watched it, really appreciates you kind of letting everybody in, sharing it. Had a huge impact on me, on everybody.
Appreciate you.
And we're rooting for you.
Thanks. You guys are the best, man.
You're
It's
the
good
man.
to see you guys.
You're the
Yeah,
man.
man, great to see you.
Thank you. It may not feel like it where you're at, but trust me, spring is right around the corner. You know how you can tell. Golfers are hitting the links in big events, and we have some tournaments to talk about. Obviously, this is a massive week in the world of golf. Myself and Kirk put out our gambling show on Wednesday, so you can go check out picks there, sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. But I love getting involved with DraftKings this week. We've got a big bet going, which we talked about earlier, but it's hole-in-one or no hole-in-one. I believe it's plus 160 to have a hole-in-one on the 17th hole all week long here at the Players Championship. I'm going to get invested, my friends. I know Colin Morikawa crushed my soul last week.
Yeah.
I had a nice future on him from Saturday morning. It was plus 600 for him to win. He had a 3-shot lead at one point. Russell Henley chips one into the hole that they missed on the coverage. Look up for my plate of nachos. Next thing I know, heartbroken, but that's what you want. You want emotions. You want to feel invested. DraftKings is going to help you do that.
I love a good hole-in-one bet. I love these things. So I'm very excited for that one. I'm going to take yes for sure, just because that's a really, really fun thing to root for. And I just think every year it seems like there's a highlight coming out of somebody making a hole-in-one. So I feel good about that one. Go on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Get involved with that one. Whether it's yes, whether it's no, just fun to be involved.
It's a simple bet.
Yeah.
It's yes or no.
Yep.
You don't have to think too much. You just really just say, is there going to be a hole-in-one? And you just make a decision.
That's right.
An iconic green, an iconic shot.
You're going to be watching it.
Plus
So you might as well
160.
just have a little bit of
Let's
something
go.
on it
That's exactly
responsibly.
right.
From the opening round Thursday through the closing round Sunday, DraftKings Sportsbook has got you covered. They've got tournament props, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. If you've never bet on golf before, it's easier than you think. You just pick something simple like a golfer to win the tourney and make your pick. It is that easy. Here's something special for the first-timers out there. New DraftKings customers bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code FORE, F-O-R-E. That is code FORE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. It's sunny out here, no doubt. Frankie just made a comment. Can't believe we've been sitting out in the sun for this long. Luckily, I got my Shady Rays on.
Yeah, it looks good.
They're great looking. It's nice. It's easy. They've always had one of the great warranties. You can get a couple pair. They do all kinds of great, like, buy one, get one free, all kinds of great deals, which we're going to talk about in this. But their styles, my friends, on Shady Rays, go to their website. It's shadyrays.com. Use the code FORE. You get 35% off polarized sunglasses.
Wow.
So, again, that is shadyrays.com. Use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, for 35% off polarized sunglasses. It's that time of year. It's spring. You're going to be outside a lot more. Summer's coming. You're going to, you lose them, you break them. They've got a great warranty replacement system. And they just, if you go scour that site, they've got a bunch of fantastic styles that's going to fit everybody.
Yeah, you need sunglasses. I don't wear them enough. It's something when we talk about this ad read and we talk about our partnership with Shady Rays, it reminds me that you got to be out here wearing sunglasses. It's very bright out here. We're always out in the sun, looking at very, very vibrant colors.
I've been squinting for an hour and a half.
I hate
Yeah.
squinting.
So
It just
dumb
makes
of
me
me.
exhausted.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Alex, which remind me that I need to go get Shady Rays glasses after the show.
ShadyRays.com.
I need to go on shadyrays.com and get this 30%
Code
off because
4.
I need sunglasses with me at all times on the road.
So they've got right here, no worries if you don't love your Shady Rays. You can exchange or return them for free within 30 days. Shopping with Shady Rays is truly risk-free, and their team always has your back with personal and fast support. They've got lost and broken protection, so you're covered from day one. Again, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal for the season. ShadyRays.com. Use the code FORE for 35% off. Shady Rays is rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, folks, we are joined here on the podcast live from TPC Sawgrass, I believe for the first time.
Yeah,
That's right.
Representing the great country of Canada.
I appreciate you keeping it
Yep.
a country on its own.
For now.
For
now.
I didn't want to have to bring that up right away.
I
but you
believe
set
from
it up.
British Columbia, is that right?
Yeah, born in central Canada, but grew up out west.
You Canucks fan?
Yes, big Canucks fan.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
know that could get a little...
It's got a little testy as of late.
Well, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. Canucks, Oilers, Flames, there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, no, definitely Canucks. Been a Canucks fan for a long time now. It's been tough to watch lately, but we're right there. We got a chance.
I like the Canucks. I don't really have an issue with the Canucks. Because
Yeah.
I grew up, when I was a big hockey fan, when I was, 10 or so years old, was Pavel Bure.
Oh man, favorite
What was
player.
it, Trevor Linden?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, and those
uniforms.
jerseys.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
McGillney.
black.
God.
Alexander McGillney, yeah,
Yep.
man. Exactly. That 94 Cup run. They lost to the Rangers, and then most recently there in 2011, losing to the Bruins. We had a
good team there too. The
Sedin
Sedin brothers.
Sedin brothers, exactly.
Sedin sisters.
Easy.
Dude, I'm a St. Louis Blues fan, so we've our teams in the Western
Yeah.
Conference have a little bit of a riff over the years. But
Yeah.
I watched the documentary about kind of the whole thing that unfolded afterwards.
That's right, yeah.
The craziest part about that, obviously not going, but like the people's lives that were completely ruined after that, after the riots and whatnot, and then they got doxxed, which they
Yes.
should, but got doxxed, and the punishment they got from there. Like people couldn't get hired for the next like decade. It was crazy.
It's nuts, man. Like it's crazy to think like one hockey game that doesn't go your way, and the next thing you know, the entire downtown is starting to burn. And I mean, and it's not just the Canucks, right? I mean, we've seen it in almost every. I mean, even when you win, right? Didn't they destroy Philadelphia after the Eagles won?
Good thing you're not like some of those soccer teams.
Yeah,
goalies get like murdered. Seen those?
Intense.
Yeah,
it's intense for sure.
Starts to get dark.
I saw one guy that was like, dude, I drove down. I was in college. I drove down for the game. And I just like, I wouldn't even go to the game. I was at a bar next door. I just got kind of drunk. Things got out of hand. And then I woke up the next day and like my life was ruined. My name was everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I was standing on top of a car. I didn't know I was doing that. And he's like, I haven't been able to get hired for like a decade. It's just like my life's over.
Oh,
like,
man.
Jesus Christ.
How quickly things can change, right? From having fun with your buddies to getting out of control.
Yeah, nice W with the Four Nations, though. We thought we were going to take that away from you guys, but what a game that was.
Yeah, I mean, you took the game in Canada. I mean, what an entrance from the Tkachuk brothers there, though.
My
right?
God.
I mean, just dropping them. And, you know what? I big props to the NHL for switching around the All-Star game and bringing this. I mean, that was incredible. I mean, you had more people talking about hockey, I think, that they didn't even know it existed.
Right.
And like the passion and it really came out on the ice. It was a lot of fun to watch. Really good game.
International play just gets the juices going. You know, President's Cups, right? I mean, like just playing for your country, playing for a team, especially for you guys, like you never get to do that. And it feels like for hockey players too, they missed out during COVID and they didn't go to the Olympics. So there was some guys like first chance in 10 years to play for a different logo, for something that wasn't their team that they play for every day. And like that just changes the vibes throughout.
100%. Yeah. I've been talking with a guy, the Avs, Devon Taves, and he's from the same area.
Went to his wedding.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Go way back. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He grew up.
I wore a turtleneck to his wedding and everyone made fun of me. Because I thought,
well, that makes sense then with the short stuff.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I thought that I'm gonna go to a hockey wedding. Like I kind of just got into this crew. I'm gonna wear something cool.
Okay.
Because hockey guys wear cool shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I took a risk. It was like a mock neck, like Tiger-esque. It was black with a gray suit. I showed up. I'm like, no one's gonna wear a collar at this thing. I'm the only one that didn't have a tie on the whole entire wedding.
Well, see, they grow up in ties too. I mean, they're wearing ties every game.
I know.
They're used to it.
did. Sometimes you get it wrong. I got it wrong.
You should have snuck a tie in the pocket. Just
I got
in
it,
case.
dude.
You know what,
can't really wear that with a
no tie, no
though.
collar. It was wrong.
Yeah.
At least hockey guys would not make fun of you for that, right?
They made fun of me, man. Oh my God, they were saying some real mean stuff to me at that table. But yeah.
Oh, I didn't. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Well, he was an Islander, and I'm a huge Islanders guy. I'm an Islander freak.
Okay.
I wore John Tavares' shoes in the locker when I was 12 years old. Yeah.
Not John. Devon.
No, Devon Taves.
Okay.
Yeah. I said John Tavares. When I had him, I snuck into the locker room. I put his shoes on just to feel what it would be like to be the captain of the
How'd
Islanders.
that pan out?
They let him go to the fucking Toronto. We didn't get a single asset back for him. But yes, Devon
anyway,
Taves.
so I'm sorry. Yeah. So he grew up in the same area that I grew up.
Abbotsford.
So we kind of started chatting a little bit, and I've been chatting him a little bit about the Four Nations Cups and stuff. And he's like, you were saying, first opportunity to represent Canada. For some of these guys, and now moving forward, it looks like we're going to get some international play more consistently from hockey. But he's like, dude, this is I mean, I'm getting to play with Crosby, and he gets to play with McKinnon and McCarr all the time. But some of these guys that he looked up to growing up, he gets to play with him. He's like, this is out of this world.
Dude, speaking of Canada in that area, I don't know if you saw this come across your desk. We played out in the Pebble Beach area the other day.
Okay.
And my caddy was Cyrus from Trailer Park Boys.
No kidding.
I swear to God.
Dude, it was...
All of a sudden, we see this guy walk up to us, and he's ripped. And I don't know why I felt real comfortable with him right off the rip. I go, look at this fucking guy. He was ripped. Like his shirt, he was wearing like that built stuff, like what is it, BYLT, whatever.
Yeah,
Everything was like workout gear. And I'm like, who is this guy, right? I was going back and forth. Like, what, do you got, bench press me? And we start talking, and I'm like, bro, you must be like the most asked for caddy out here ever. You're like a good looking dude. You got this mystique to you. He's like, yeah, some people, they like to talk to me about a show I was on. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I was on this show, Trailer Park Boys. I'm like,
no kidding.
It was Cyrus.
So he's moved on to caddying at Pebble.
Yeah, he does like Preserve, Pebble, Spyglass.
Dude, the most shocking part, me and Frankie, he was like caddying for us. We're having a great time out there, great match. We're playing well. It's a beautiful day. And we get towards the end, and we're like talking about how good he looks with that. He's like, guess how old I am?
I said 45.
We thought he's maybe low 40s, maybe mid 40s. Was he
He
60?
turned 65 that day.
No.
65.
To be 20 years off of someone's
Holy
age means that
crap.
they are doing something right.
Seriously.
But I know
Dude.
Trailer Park Boys is like that's a national gold
It was
mine
a
for you
Canadian
guys.
treasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've gone back to watch it now ever since having
Oh,
him. And
yeah,
like
for
that
sure.
first episode, Cyrus is running in. He's like got the 9mm safety always off. My father told me he loved me once, fucking prick. Like just he's got one-liners like you wouldn't believe. Oh my god, I
Absolutely.
couldn't
What a-
believe.
What a cool day.
I tweeted
Yeah.
it out and people thought like I didn't know how to write it. I'm like, I have a guy that's Cyrus. It's not a guy that looks like him.
It
It's
is him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was wild. So, we're talking about international, people getting fired up, team, the whole deal. Golf's obviously an incredibly individual sport.
Yeah.
I always noticed, really with like Jordan Spieth, maybe 10 years ago when he came out, he would always handle interviews and he'd always say we. Like we were finding it. We were starting to find. Do you now, like I feel like golfers have a lot more of a team than they used to have. Do you kind of try to find a little bit of like, instead of just feel like you're playing for yourself, to try to feel like with your, whether it's your caddy, your family, your physio, that like you try to get that team feel by feeling like you're
Yeah.
playing for, like you're the CEO of your operation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all in this together, right? We're all after the ultimate goal, whether that to be, reach number one in the world, win the Players this week, win major championships. We're kind of all in it together.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly can't do this alone. So yeah, I think everybody's, trying to achieve the same goals and work towards the same things. And, again, a little bit different because you don't have teammates around you to, hit the next shot for you or
Pick you up yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, I mean, we spend more time with our caddies than we do with our wives most of the time, right? I mean, especially during tournament weeks. And so, yeah, everybody becomes family, really, at the end of it. So
out here at Sawgrass, it's almost every player, whether you're Tiger Woods, anybody, like they have a mixed bag of results here. You've had some damn good results here over the years. What is it about this golf course? What I feel like, when you go into most U.S. Opens, everybody kind of knows, like, I have to drive the ball well if I miss fairways. You go into other courses like Harbor Town, for example. It's kind of a second shot golf course. What is it about this golf course going in that you're thinking, like, I need to do well to contend this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me personally this week is I'm going to have to hit greens in regulation. I'm coming off a week at Bay Hill where I think I hit 30 of 72. So now that being said,
tough out there.
Listen, in all fairness, hitting 30 greens and not finishing DFL was actually a bit of an accomplishment. Probably speaks to how well I was chipping and putting that week. But no, I'm going to have to hit a few more greens this week if I'm going to have a chance to compete. I love this golf course. You talk about everybody's sort of mixed bag of results. I think that it challenges you in every aspect of the game. And so it's so difficult. If you're a great driver of the golf ball, you can go to certain places and you're going to be up there because that's what it requires.
Right.
Like I think of like a Torrey Pines or something like that. You need the length, the driving ability, and you can kind of get away with some of the other stuff. Here, it's not overly long. You got to move the golf ball both ways. It challenges like your perception of the holes, right? Like Pete Dye does a great job of framing the golf hole and saying, hey, you've got room over here. And so you do that and then you have no angle.
I think the fourth hole is a great example of that.
Yeah.
The par 4, it's
100%.
like angled away from you off the tee, and then the water and the green go the other way.
Correct.
It's such an uncomfortable hole.
Yeah, so you stand on that tee box and you immediately like, well, my miss is out there on the left rough, but then you get in that left rough and you have nothing coming over. Like trying to judge over the water to the green is just nothing. So Pete Dye does a really good job of making you go away from trouble, which is actually setting up a harder shot for the next one. So I've heard a lot of guys talking, if you can challenge the trouble off the tee, challenge the inside of the dog legs. Like one is another prime example. Yeah. You hit it left on one, you get blocked out, you're in pine straw, you run out quick, you got nothing to that green, especially because the green then angles the opposite way that you're coming.
Right.
But take on the corner, you might miss in the right rough. You're hoping for a good lie, you're dodging something, but then you can run it up. So and I think that's why people have such mixed results here is that, you know, if you're working it both ways, things can go well, but you get just slightly off on some of these angles. The next thing you know, you're kind of grinding through an entire round.
So you said you miss a lot of greens now, and one of the things that you want is to hit more greens.
Yeah.
Is it just course management now? Like, what's your thought process, and like, how do you hit more greens the next week? Or like, what's your thought process to doing that? I guess is the
No, fair enough.
Right, because that should have been your strategy last week.
Should have been my strategy last week.
Like, I got to hit more greens.
Yeah.
Like, all right, like, what do we change
Yeah.
though? Right? Like, you know.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. You know, I went through some swing changes in the fall, and I think I'm still working through some of those. So the face control, you know, controlling the club face is still just a bit of an issue. When it's good, it's great. I played well in Phoenix and had no issues with it, but you know, you get into a little bit of a wind and crosswinds and stuff. It's not quite 100% there. So certainly working through some of that. But then maybe the other thing is just taking slightly more conservative lines. You know, obviously you get wedges in your hand, you can feel comfortable, you can attack, but once you get into that 8-iron and up kind of thing, like, hey, maybe it's just prudent to hit it to 30 feet, 35 feet, center of the green. And
God, it's got to be so hard for you guys to take that medicine.
It is.
You're so good.
Especially if greens get a little softer, where you know that you can stop it. And, you know, you get a 6-iron in your hand, you can stop it within 10 feet. It's really hard to aim away from the pin. You know what I mean?
You're like, I'm really good at golf.
Yeah,
I can just
it's like,
hit this in
it's
the pin.
hard. But then, again, you start chasing things, right? You get that pin on the left, you miss just a little bit left. Now you're short-sighted. Now you get 12 feet for par. And it just becomes a really long day. Otherwise, you got 30 feet, your speed control is good, and you're tapping in, and life is stress-free. I feel like if you can make golf as stress-free as possible, then it might not make for great TV sometimes,
right?
But it makes for, you know, probably save us a few years of our life.
Yeah, sometimes boring golf's the best golf, right? Fairways, hit the greens,
Yeah.
2 putts.
Yeah.
Someone said something
your
in
chances.
Netflix. I don't know if it was in the Justin Rose and Gary-Woodland episode, but someone was like, if you just go, someone told one of the players, if you go 1 under each 9 for the whole entire week, like, you're gonna find yourself in a pretty damn good spot. And like that mindset of just going Justin Rose, just going under par each 9 that you play, you're gonna, at the end of the week or at the end of your career, you're gonna accumulate a lot of money and a lot of wins if you just do that mindset every single week. And that's so hard though, right? Like, not chasing, because there are times that you got to chase, you got to go after the pin. Like, you're like, this is a now do or die moment.
No, for sure. I mean, I really don't think those kind of moments really come, though, until Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, I really like the idea of building into the week, building into the round. Let's just...
It's a marathon.
Let's get it in play. Like you said, let's get it in play. We don't have to do it. You know, it's Thursday morning at 9 a.m. We don't have to go. We have 4 birdies in a row.
You're not winning the
right?
tournament on Thursday.
Exactly. So let's just build into it, get some balls in play, give ourselves some chance, kind of figure out what we've got, and then go from there. Once we're feeling better and we start hitting lines, you know, if I'm aiming 30 feet right and I'm hitting it there, now I can move it to 15 feet right because I got confidence that I can hit it there. But if I'm trying to hit it 10 feet right and I'm missing 10 feet left, now I've got to kind of adjust, you know?
Like Frankie just said right there, right? You can't win the tournament on Thursday, but you could certainly play yourself out of the tournament
100%.
early in the day.
This is like a mental, like,
I'm gonna be so invested in
I'm
your
so
round
invested
now.
now. Like, if we start,
Me too.
if you start
I'll be
taking
like, oh, he's
crazy,
losing.
if he starts taking crazy angles, like on like Thursday, Friday, we're like, what's this guy doing?
Listen,
we're going off the script.
There's a big difference between the decision making and the execution part of it, right? We gotta discern between the two there, right?
Fair. It's totally fair.
But yeah, it just ease your way in, get some in play, kind of make it stress free, and then you know, the way that I've always played, I feel like pretty steady, and when things get hot, they'll go hot.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of like waiting for that, kind of being patient, riding out some of the, you know, maybe not feeling as well, but again, just keep it in play, keep plodding along, and then when it goes, it can come.
As guys that are the biggest Tiger Woods fans in the world and watched every single round, you know, I remember so vividly feeling like Tiger was getting off to slow starts a lot on Thursday, on Friday, and kind of grinding. It wasn't magical necessarily. Then maybe Friday or maybe Saturday, all of a sudden, you know, you look and you're like, oh, he is 4 under through 2 rounds. Okay, he's 4 or 5 back. And then Saturday, all of a sudden, you would have that blitz where he makes 7 birdies in 12 holes and he gets himself in contention. And it was like he just understood exactly what you said, where he's like, no, everything's going fine here. I'm not quite on fire yet. And then when I am, it's going to be a problem for everybody else.
Yeah, and my guess would be he's probably working through some stuff early on. You know what I mean? Like, you get out there sometimes and you just don't have it. You feel setup feels
all the
weird.
time.
I go to hit a 5-yard draw and it fades 5 yards and you're like, huh, okay. So you kind of go back to basics and you kind of just get it around. And then when you set up and you hit, a lot of the time it'll take one shot. and you hit it, and you're like, that's the feeling.
Uh-huh.
And then you do it again on the next hole, and you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like an event. Unlike, we've been lucky to go to quite a few majors, and Kiz is famous for always saying this, where he'd be like, "Yeah, I have no chance to win on this course." Right? Certain like PGA course or whatever.
One of our
for
best
sure.
clips of all time. We
Yeah,
went through
so
all the
good.
majors for the years when when the PGA was at Bethpage.
Oh,
And he went
yeah,
through
yeah.
each one,
Yeah.
talked about how he was going to be leaving on Friday at every single one.
He's like, "Where are the majors at?" We're like, "Bethpage."
Yeah.
Like, I got no chance.
No
Too
chance.
long.
Yeah.
Booking my flight back for Friday night.
He just kept going. We got to the British Open. He's like, "Actually, might be able to play okay." But this
Absolutely.
one feels totally different. Every person we see, it does feel like they believe on the first tee. Like, actually, I can
chance.
win here.
I agree 100%. You look at the past winners here. It's kind of a smorgasbord of everything, right? You've got long, you've got short. Long is always going to be beneficial, right? Par 3, if you're hitting 8 when somebody else has to hit a 6, that's always going to be beneficial.
Right.
But again, I think it's a course that you can still almost plod your way around a little bit. I can hit it here, to hit it to here, to do this. And that's, you don't get a ton of that in the modern game anymore.
Right.
And so, yeah, to have a major-like championship here, our 5th major, the Players' Championship, where anybody in the 144-man field can win is pretty exciting.
Do you get aggressive on 17? And the reason I ask, you always just try to hit middle of green?
Middle of green.
Okay.
Okay.
Middle of green.
Okay.
100%.
So if you hit it close, we could be like, he missed wrong
It's a
line.
variance
So,
of
but
like the,
again, though, right? So front pins were usually like gap wedge, maybe. So again, you're still trying to hit it past the pin and use the slope,
Right.
but there's an opportunity to get a little bit closer. But the right pin, you're going like over the left side of the bunker, and maybe it takes
Catch
the
that
slope down to
ridge,
the
yeah.
right. The back left pin, you're just landing it on top. If things get firmer, a little
Yeah.
softer, you
Sort
can
of
be
one-hop
slightly
in the
more
water,
exactly.
yeah.
But things get a little firmer, you're taking a number that's like just on top. You're hoping it's an absolute full-out swing so you can send it to the moon. And then if it spins down or ends up short, you putt from there. You're like, you do not take that pin on and one hop over.
Paying attention there, Trent?
I
He's
should
playing
be
today.
taking
Yeah.
notes. Yeah, I'm playing it today. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, I had a really good record of not hitting it in the water there till last year. I think it was my first time in 20, 30 something times playing that hole. So
Good. That's a good
but
run.
like there's a point on like the top of the ridge, the middle of the green. Like if you can hit there and just play for that, you've got so much area around that for misses.
Okay. You're not
Frankie's
going to
gotta
like
be
this,
paying
but I
attention.
like that guy that pros hit it in the water sometimes because, like makes
they hit
me
it in the
Oh,
water
absolutely.
all the time.
I know.
All the
that's-
time.
All the time. All right.
We've had that discussion if you put a regular, just I think it was like a 10 handicapper on the 12th hole at Augusta or the 17th at Sawgrass. What hole would produce the higher score? I was on TPC Sawgrass side because I said if you just don't have it, you don't have it forever there.
Yeah. I feel like they could get it somewhere long left, maybe on 12 at Augusta. You know what I mean? Just kind of get it over there.
I do think you've changed the framing of the
Never.
question. I thought it
Whereas-
was
Go
always
back
like,
and
which,
look at it,
which
exactly.
hole's harder.
No, what would produce a higher score? Because I remember saying if you have the shanks, there's quite
Yeah.
literally nowhere to go on 17 at Sawgrass. You could shank it into a bunker. You could get it into the
Yeah.
back flowers. You could putt
You
it
could
out
hit
of that.
short. You could hit short, even like if you hit a really bad shot
Yeah.
on 12.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can end up short of Rays Creek and then just chip in the. You know what I mean? Like you could almost figure it out. But if you're staying on 17 and you hit a couple in the water to start, now you're really thinking about
Your drop
it.
zone is still.
Where's
Yeah.
it? The drop zone's like not that comfortable
No,
either, right?
I mean,
What is it, like an 85-yard chip over the water?
Oh, I
You've
hate
seen
that.
so many guys go back and hit the full shot, right?
There's-
Because that drop zone, depending on where the pin location is
You put Jersey Jerry out there, he will make a 100.
Dude, I want to say they
High
did,
score for him.
they did a video with a guy, I think they made like an 88 on the hole.
Oh yeah,
I wanna say
well,
they
they
did
did
that.
like this was way like I don't know 70s 80s 90s or something, but they brought like a foursome out and they played the whole golf course, and I mean they were shooting like 180.
Yeah.
Or something.
I think I was like
like-
219 or something like
Well,
that for one guy.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
gonna be
17 took them 35 minutes to complete because they couldn't get it over.
I'm
It's
gonna
like
be
Anthony
in-
Del Vecchio cards like a 195, and he just had a blast of a day.
I'm going to be in tears walking off 17.
No, we're gonna be
no,
good. We're
no,
gonna
no,
be
no,
good.
no, no,
Yeah, this
it's-
is not a great
no,
mental
no,
exercise.
Trent, you should go up
Listen,
there and stick it.
That'd be fun.
honestly, at the end of the day, I think you want to 17 is
Guys
a
just
way
got to get that
easier
fence post in
hole
the ground, you know. He's
than
just-
12 at
17
Augusta.
is a
I think
way
17
easier
is
hole?
way easier hole than 12 at Augusta overall.
Okay.
But I do think that guys could potentially have a lower score at 12 at Augusta than 17 here. Like I'm telling you, man, just get the center yardage to the top of the hill. The slope there,
'Kay.
and just play for that. That's it. That's all
Okay.
you need to know.
Speaking of 17, we got to get you out there. It's Wednesday, the Players Championship. You're going to go out there and play. You're giving us a lot of time here, which
All
is
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
And you're literally, this is the craziest part of golf, right? Like these guys are going out there to prepare for their massive, massive tournament tomorrow.
It's like we grabbed him like while he was on the bench before
it's
the puck
crazy
dropped.
to do a full
And
blown
he's like,
interview.
yeah,
sitting
sure.
down.
You're like, no, dude, you got a game to play.
It's
here.
all good, man. This is fun. I'm glad to be a part of the show and finally get on with you guys.
You getting tackled is the funniest thing of all time. I know you've heard it a million times. Like I've watched that 1,000 times in my life.
I can't disagree with you on that one. I mean, it's to watch slow-mo videos of him
unbelievable.
coming around the corner. I mean, it really is.
What did that feel like? I mean, did he take like your breath away a little bit? He clocked you.
Well, I had so much adrenaline,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
the shock and everything of it just it wasn't gonna wear off. And I promise you, I didn't get hurt. But if
Yeah.
I was gonna get hurt, I wasn't feeling it at that point.
No,
you know what I
later.
mean? Like there
Bruising
was
up
way
later.
too much.
I can't
adrenaline.
tell you how much engagement we got on all those tweets.
Oh
it was so
my
easy.
God.
It was
I
just
know.
so
I
mean, we'll
easy.
never have a clip like that
Never.
in golf
No.
ever again.
It was-
Slow
you won't
motion
have it.
spraying as
Yeah.
you're going
I
down.
know,
It's like,
right?
Yeah, that was
Netflix.
so-
Like it's never going away.
It's a shocking thing that
Oh.
occurred. You've handled it great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's
Thank
tough.
you. You got to have a little fun with
So
it, right?
totally,
like I
totally.
said, luckily I wasn't hurt. We went off to the U.S. Open the next week and was able to play no issues. So, yeah, one of those wild, random moments that why not have a little fun?
I also
with it,
think
right?
we looked up. We have to hire the security guard. He's the best security guard in the world.
Edge rusher.
I don't know if you saw. I saw him the next year, Canadian Open, and I pulled over and got a photo with him.
That's awesome.
There
See,
we
that's
go.
good.
There
That's
we
the
go.
right way to
Yeah,
handle it.
water under the bridge.
That's the right way to
Last
handle
thing I want to mention before we let you go. Sorry. I know you're a Canadian guy. I last year went to 2 different events, golf events in Canada, the Canadian Open and the President's Cup. We have a lot of Canadian fans at Barstool and the listener of the show. How good and like popular is golf in Canada? Because I feel like it for a relatively small population, cold up there.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys love your golf.
Oh, it's through the roof, man. I think if I'm correct, I think it's the #1 participation sport in Canada.
It's unreal.
And as you would have experienced, the fans are crazy.
Dude, it gives me like chills thinking about
I
it. It was like
know.
being there. Everyone was so appreciative
I
that
know.
like we were all up there, that the event was getting highlighted. They were so pumped to be there. Everybody's wearing Golf Canada hats. It was awesome.
They love golf, the sport itself. They love supporting us. It's such a great feeling. I mean, everywhere we travel, we always have such great support from the Canadian fans. And yeah, just really proud to represent the country on the global stage. And it's always a treat to get to go back up Canadian Open week and President's Cup last year. But it's a lot of fun playing in front of them. They've been rowdy these last few years.
Yeah, I had to get that in just because
They got the hockey boards up and everything, and everybody's banging on them. Just the environments are
Yeah, man,
fantastic.
take advantage of that. You know,
Yeah.
build it up.
Yeah.
You know, kind of create our own little mini 16th at Scottsdale and get it loud. And they've really embraced that, and so it's a lot of fun to go back up there.
Amazing. I love it.
So.
Yeah, I had to get that in. We were giving you a hard time at the beginning, but we love Canada. Canada's fantastic.
Love Canada.
A
Shout
lot
out
of great
Abbotsford.
golfing up there. Yep. Shout out Abbotsford.
Absolutely.
All right, Adam Hadwin, we know you got to get out there, so thanks for the time.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me.
Best of luck
Thank
this
you.
week.
Yep.
All right. It's Wednesday evening. We have just concluded the Sawgrass Creator Classic. Our
Wow.
guy Trent battled his ass off out there. And really, I would say, at the end of the day, 10 different players, iconic golf course, all kinds of coverage. I think you delivered by far the most electric moment of the entire thing.
You know, when we were doing the podcast earlier, I tried to peek into the future, and I was like, what's it going to be like later? Is the golf course going to chew me up and spit me out? Am I not even going to be able to, like, walk afterwards? A couple of those things are sort of true, but I did have a really, really good time, and 17 was, you know, unlike anything that I've ever experienced before and probably will ever again. We talked about it, Frankie, my caddy, all day, my horse, my rock.
Yeah.
We were like,
Long day.
long day. And on 17, it's like either you make it in one or you do what we did out there tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, listen, it's a creator classic. There's going to be people that comment like, why is this guy playing? He's ruining the golf course. This guy sucks, all these things. What is this event? It's a bunch of YouTube golfers going out there and playing the players. Essentially, we played the tournament because we
Dude,
played from.
I did not know they were going to be the tips.
We played the tips.
That was hard. That was
the
really
night
hard.
before they play one of the hardest tournaments of the year. We
Yep.
just got done talking with Adam Hadwin and Gary Woodland about how difficult this place is. Tiger Woods has struggled here from time to time. Like, it's unbelievable how difficult this place is. Trent Ryan goes out there, shoots 29 over in 8 holes. He's just a regular guy going out there, and it's like, sure, we've done breaking 100, done breaking 90. Those are legit. We went out there and we played our asses off. We shot those numbers. You come out here, it's like anyone can just foil and unravel, and it's like this place just gets the best of you. We couldn't hit some of the shots. We couldn't cover some of the numbers from the back tees.
We ran into so many forced carries through the first 6 holes.
Yeah. Changes
the
That
whole
finally
round.
on the 7th hole, we said, there's a landing area that's 140 yards in front of us. Hit a nice 8-iron over there, and that's how we're going to continue doing this. And it worked. Like the forced carries, like you're saying, we've done breaking 100, breaking 90. Now we're doing breaking 85. Like the conditions that are out there at the TPC Sawgrass they're on a different planet.
Different planet.
Than every other golf course
Different
that everybody
sport.
plays. 100%.
I mean, I want to say Wesley Bryan shot 5 or 6 over.
Right.
In 8 holes.
It's a hard
8
golf
holes.
course.
And like, so yeah, it's hard. And you did.
And just to finish, I think my point, is like, this is what it's all about. What Trent did today. That's why there is a creator class. Like, when someone has a big brain idea sitting around a room being like, how can we make things more relatable to the average golfer? Like, what can we do? Oh, maybe you should get a bunch of regular guys out there, play the golf course the night before, and show people how hard it is. The guy shot 29 over and deposited 5 balls into the water on 17. It was the biggest eruption of the day. Paige Sporanic, who followed us, lovely Paige Sporanic, love that woman so much. She's so nice. She's so great with us.
Yeah,
and
we
I
had a great
love
time
how
out there.
much she wants us to succeed. She really, really was on your team today.
Yeah.
She said that she has been to real PGA tournaments, majors, some of them, and she hasn't heard a pop like that. When Trent hit his 6th ball, was it his 6th ball?
I think it was the 5th.
The 5th ball onto
you
the
hit
green.
4
He hit
balls
4
in the
balls into the water.
Yeah.
The 5th ball, it was a tin cup moment. Never stop trying. This is why you always keep going. The crowd screaming, Trent, Trent, Trent. He hits it. PGA Tour's tweeting it out. I couldn't be more happy for how that went. It was either
I
a
agree.
1 or it was an 11, and we made an 11.
I'm happy with it. It was a great moment. The crowd was super into it, and that was really fun.
Every group that came through after, and that's not to say anything about it. We love all those guys. Fat Perez hit the putt of a lifetime.
Oh, that was so good.
Crowd went nuts. I fucking love Fat Perez. But everyone, it's like guys were hitting the middle of the green and it's just like golf claps. Like, that's just a golf tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, you went 2 over, 3 over. And that's not to say I don't want you to get to the level of being able to shoot a 2 over, 3 over at the TPC Sawgrass during the players' conditions. I want us all to succeed and play better. We want to play better golf. We play a ton of golf. We get fit with TaylorMade. We do all these things. I get it. We are so aware of all the opportunities that we have. But we're still human beings that are not that good at golf. It's as simple as that. I don't know what else to tell you guys. This is who we are. All the comments and all these things, we are just not that great. And we've never claimed to be anything that we're not.
Nope.
We are bad golfers that get the opportunity to go out there and do things we never dreamed of. And Trent got that opportunity today and took it to the fullest, and he just didn't succeed in winning the tournament.
I made an
but
11.
the content was incredible. You swung and missed on 16. You put 4 balls into the water on 17.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, man. Like, that's what it's all about.
No, I totally agree. I really think, like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be, and that's what we've talked a lot about, and like we've had a lot of conversation with Dave, and like we want to do our own thing, and like that's what it is. Like I respect everyone who went out there and shot like 2 over, 1 over, played really well. But if you want a creator event and you want to see how creators play golf, it's more towards this way.
Yeah, you were the relatable guy out there. You were the pace car for the weekend golfer.
Yeah.
And everyone's watching it being like, that's my guy. And it's not even that you're bad, like you're average golfer. That's like how people play golf. That's
Dude, you
like,
know what's crazy? I played pretty well.
yeah.
The crazy thing is I played pretty
Your
well.
first tee was incredible.
Yeah.
That was the most, first of all, that's the hardest tee shot in that situation
Trees
I've
overhanging on
ever
the left.
seen.
So one thing,
Trouble everywhere.
Frankie and I, like Frankie's trying to calm me down. I'm like going up to him like, I'm going to puke, I'm going to throw up, I'm going to pass out. And I could just tell he was saying the right things, but in his mind, he was like, I want to say that this is the hardest tee shot you've ever seen.
Trees overhanging on the left that literally, if you hit the tree, it drops right into the water.
Yeah.
Claustrophobic as you could possibly be. Bunker all up the left, and then like just trees, forest, and thousands of people up the right, behind you, to the left of you. Everyone up there. It's like, that is such an uncomfortable tee shot.
Oh my
and then
God.
you factor in the nerves and all that, and you hit your little baby cut just into the right rough. Didn't hit anyone. Totally fine.
Yep.
Like, that was about as well as you could have done. So I'm with you. You hit a lot of great shots. And at the end of the day, you didn't walk off the 17th green in defeat. You walked off the 17th green where the PGA Tour screenshotted it and put it on their main account under the shot link, funny graphic of you making an 11 and then you were Rudy at the bottom of it, like with your arms in the air, the crowd going nuts
Crowd
behind
going
you.
nuts.
It was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Bob, Joey Coldcuts, all the guys for no laying up were like, we couldn't even pay attention to what was happening on 15 and 16 because the roars were so constant because there was 5 shots. So Trent was up there for a good 5 real minutes trying to get a ball into a green. Sully was like, dude, I had a 5-foot putt on 16, like trying to win this thing. Like I'm trying to win this event. And there was a constant cheer for 5 minutes as I was trying to read this.
Yeah, he was like, it actually made it easier because it was constant. It wasn't like go, loud, stop. It was just constant.
Beef was in the crowd the whole time.
I was in the crowd the entire time, walking the entire back nine. We've been here for 2.5 days now. We've seen players hit shots in their practice rounds. This might have been the largest group of people watching golf on all 3 of these days so far. And it was like group 1, Trent Ryan, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Explosion, awesome, fantastic days. We get to 17, and it's like, all right, he's got the biggest applause. Everybody in the group, the buzz is up. All right, we put one in the water. Buzz is still up. Another ball in the water. It's like everything just eroded.
The tides turned right there after the second one, and I kept throwing you the ball. It's like, let's see another one.
Right. Because after the first one, after the second one, you could be like, oh boy, everybody gets a little like, we're uncomfortable. But then we were having fun with it, and it's like people are like, all right, let's see this.
Dude, guys were screaming again.
Yeah.
Again. It was like Miracle on Ice.
I kept hearing one more. I was like, let's do it. Thankfully, we didn't run out of balls.
Dude, can we tell a story?
Sure.
Do you want to tell a story or you want me to tell a story?
So I can tell a story.
Love it.
We were in the Good event. Whatever that was, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. I don't even remember.
November.
But
yeah,
if people
whatever.
remember, on the last hole of that event, I pulled my drive worse than I've ever pulled a drive ever. And there was crowds there too. And there were people up the left, and there was a security guard. She was standing just a little, she was out in the open. And the ball whizzed by her head.
Inches.
I felt horrible. And I was just like, it was a traumatic moment for me because I was like, I can't be hitting people out there. That's very, very dangerous. After the tournament, after the good tournament, a couple of fans went up to the woman and were like, do you have the ball? And she did. She had kept the ball. She didn't speak any English, but she gave those guys the ball and wrote the word Jesus on the ball. And this is the ball right here that I hit onto the green at tpc-sawgrass because we were run out of balls. You were firing balls at me, and all day I was like,
it was the 5th ball.
It was the 5th ball.
Just that hole.
And it was chaos, dude. So how long ago was that?
I mean, October
of 2024. You've had this in your golf bag for, I'm going to do the math now.
5 months.
5 months.
Almost.
Yeah.
We changed bags today. So you somehow transported from your other
transferred all the
bag
balls in there
to this bag. There's no reason why it should have been in this new bag, this QI35 bag. I'm shuffling through your bag as TPC Sawgrass 17 is erupting for you to hit another shot. I threw you at one point a TaylorMade stripe ball.
Yep.
I threw you a Pix ball. I threw you a regular ball.
We were going through the whole catalog.
I found, and then there was at the end, I saw one more Pix ball, one more stripe ball, and then there was another white pearly ball. I reached in there. You had told me earlier in the round when I went to go throw your ball, do not throw me the Jesus ball. I can't lose it. It's got a special meaning. I throw him this 5th ball, had no idea what ball it was.
It was chaos.
He hits it onto the
This
green.
is nuts.
We step up on the fucking green, Riggs, and I go, what ball is that? And he goes, it's the Jesus ball. I said, you're telling me you didn't hit that in the water? Bro,
It's meant to be.
I don't know.
That's
at the end of the day, you can believe whatever you want to believe. Everyone can believe in anything higher or lower, whatever you want to do.
It doesn't matter.
That is a moment that is like chills up your spine, hair on the back of your neck stands up. Something that my dad's probably listening to this right now crying 100%.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy, man.
You
Got
got to
it?
frame the Jesus
Yeah,
ball.
please
dude.
frame that. Take that out of your
I
golf
should
bag
probably
now,
take it out
please.
of
and, like,
put
it on your mantle. Let's not put it back in the bag.
when I would be playing golf, I would always be like, all right, don't hit that one. I didn't ever suspect we would be standing on the 17th tee and Frankie would be rifling ground balls to me. And I was just like, all right, I'll hit another one.
When has anyone had a chance to hit 5 balls on the 17th
Right.
tee box at TPC Sawgrass?
yeah.
Like, we turned that into our own driving
And just
range.
have more applause, more
No,
applause,
that-
more applause.
That woman wrote Jesus on it. She clearly thought it was like divine intervention that I didn't.
Because she should have died that day.
I feel bad. I feel
Like,
really bad
that's
about
how
that.
close. No, she could have died that day, right? Like,
yeah,
she's thinking in her
ball,
head.
ball to the head, temple, you're dead.
She's thinking in her head,
Straight to
if
jail.
I'm 1 foot to the left, this thing's going right between my forehead. That is exactly how close it was to her head.
Yeah. So, and that was the
bad.
ball.
Then it just went on to the green on 17. You made par on that ball.
I did
Yeah.
make par on that ball.
Yeah.
Two
Jesus
putts were
ball
up there?
is even par.
Wow,
Satan,
man.
Satan balls are in the bottom of the water.
I'm going to take this thing out of rotation.
I think you got it, man.
Watching Kyle Berkshire hit his shots before you was a very funny
That was mean.
experience all day.
That was mean.
You know?
Yeah. No, he can pipe the golf ball, especially when I'm the guy who can't get over these forced carries, and he is just sending it.
What a wild like style of golf though, because I don't think he's honed in like the left and the right of it. Right, he just lets it fly. And I asked him that, I'm like, dude, you're just letting it fly in here. He's like, for me to hit the best shots that I could possibly hit, I have to just go 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I cannot take my foot off the gas, because then things start to come in, doubt starts to creep in. I just got to swing how I want to swing, which is as hard as I possibly can, and I got to just hope that it goes straight. And there were a couple times it got squirrely on him, but he hits it so far that it goes over all the trouble. Like he'll be over
crazy.
like all of the tents, and he's like on the tee box of 3 holes late to the right, and you're like, oh my god! And then he's chipping it onto the green. He's putting for birdie somehow. I think the guy only finished like 3 or 4 over.
Yeah.
It's like he was never in the middle of the fairway. He was always just like in the trees and just like carving like punch out. So
I really loved our group today. It was Kyle Berkshire and Tisha.
Yep.
And like they were cool. They rolled with everything. Where it's like
Tisha's, by the way,
she played great.
She played so good.
She had one bad hole, which was the hardest hole out there. That 15th hole was playing impossible.
Yeah.
Where she got a bad bounce off a tree, ended up in a horrible lie, and she made a high score. But otherwise, she was like leading the tournament up until that moment.
Yeah.
But I give them credit, because on 17, I could see some people being like, this guy's a circus show. Like, why are we out here?
They
were so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So credit to them. They had a really good attitude about it.
Overall, huge success, man.
Huge success.
I'm very proud of you, Trent.
Thank you.
I thought you represented the brand phenomenally. I saw everybody tweeting about it. Tor was putting out clips. It was really
awesome.
Really phenomenal. So absolutely excellent work out there. Now it's Players Championship time.
Yeah.
You know, we get to go watch the best players in the world do that same thing.
A couple of those shots that we hit today, it's like, it's amazing. Those guys are just going to carve the ball around those trees, off those tees. Like watching them just navigate that place. That back nine is not easy, man. So
brutal.
Anyone that hits it in the water, you could say that you did that too.
True. I did do that. I did that a bunch of times.
We'll let these boys get rolling on this podcast. I think that's it, right,
Thanks
fellas?
everybody for listening. Thanks to the Bushman and our behind-the-scenes team.
Waiting for us all day to get this shit done. Editing the podcast while we're out there smacking balls around.
Yeah.
All of
Fun
our
day.
advertisers, thank you. Great work, Trent. Great work, Frankie. We'll be back for a little Players Championship recap. Enjoy the championship. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.